game should I play today? Harvest Moon Magical Melody? Maybe. Escape 3? Too physical.
Let's get him!
Oh yeah. You know, if only there were a good sequel.
There was a sequel. Sonic Adventure 2?
I said a good sequel. Welcome to the Pixel Punch, where I tell you my gaming opinions, popular or unpopular. Sonic has had a rocky path since about the mid-90s, with titles such as Sonic R, Sonic 06, and Saint's Children, Sonic Boom, Shattered Crystal, and Sonic Boom, Rise of Lyric. But Sonic has had one good 3D title, and that is Sonic Adventure. Yeah, going fast, flying around, doing this. Sonic Adventure was and still is amazing, and I've played multiple versions including the GameCube and PC ports. While there are some minor problems, I'm talking about you, Big, it is still one of my favorite video games. So when you make a sequel to a critically acclaimed game, what does Sega do? They suck everything good out of it and give us Sonic Adventure 2. I'm obviously gonna get crap for this, but Sonic Adventure 2 is not a good game. This actually happens for multiple games I like, including Assassin's Creed and Silent Hill. What's the difference? Those games were disappointing, but still good, particularly Silent Hill 2. SA2 is an unenjoyable mess. Before we start, I want to mention that I've played 3 versions of this game: SA2 Battle on the GameCube, the Xbox 360 port, and most recent port, the PC version. Now, I think it's time to start talking about why I hate this game. So obviously we start off at the menu, and this introduces one of the only redeeming parts of the game, the music.
Attention all units.
It's not as good as Sonic Adventures was, but it's the best part and one of the few things that I like. Since I have to film the entire game, I start a new file. We have 2 options, Hero and Dark. Okay, this is freaking stupid. We had 6 characters to play as in Sonic Adventure, and we could play as anyone we wanted to at any time. I'm guessing Big was a big factor in this redesign, but playing one side with characters in a fixed order is just stupid. I'm just gonna start on the hero side. So, we begin with Sonic captured by Gun and... Wait, Sonic killed everyone in that helicopter? Way to keep that E rating, Sega. Then again, the Xbox and PlayStation ports got rated E10+, so... Anyway, the graphics. Are these supposed to be good? Because compared to Sonic Adventure, I see a lot of polygons. Okay. Composure. Back to the game. This is one of the only good stages in the game, and that's bad considering there are 32 stages. Also, notice how the back of the box lies and says there are 30 stages? Hiding something, Sega. This is a good time to bring up the controls though. The controls in Sonic Adventure 2 are slippery. The buttons are also really unresponsive at times, and this combination is really bad. But we're going back to this topic later. Moving on to the camera, oh my god, it's bad. Like, really bad. In fact, here are some examples. After killing a guy in a robot, we meet Shadow and the game black screens. This happens a lot for me and I have no idea why. It's really bad for this game because slippery controls plus a lot of speed plus glitches equals game over. Anyway, Sonic is recaptured by Gun, and now we're at a temple. Okay. Random continuity jump cut. Knuckles is fighting with Rouge, a new character, about who owns Master Emerald. Wait. Why are we at a temple in the middle of a desert? Did Knuckles relocate the Master Emerald or something? I miss you, Angel Island. Anyway, Eggman tries to steal the Master Emerald and... Oh, we get to do the Emerald stages. How could this be any... Oh my god, this is so awful. Unlike Sonic Adventure, where you could finish these stages in 3 minutes, it can take up to 10 in this game. I disapprove. Also, remember how you could hunt for any emerald you wanted in Sonic Adventure using the radar? Well, this game makes you hunt the first emerald on the radar instead. This means you could be right next to another emerald and completely miss it because it isn't glowing on the freaking radar. After this stupidity, we go to Tails, who's going to rescue Sonic, and dear God, Tails...
I'm the one who should be asking that question. Yes, emeralds are like magnets. They have the power to attract each other.
What happened to your wonderful voice? We save Amy from Eggman, easily, and... Ugh, I hate Tails stages. They're so slow with horrible aiming controls, and it's just... Why couldn't they just have had the original controls from Sonic Adventure 1? Seriously, I'm barely moving the freaking control stick! Flying around at the speed of sound. Got places to go! Anyway, Amy saves Sonic and... Why is she talking about Shadow and Eggman being allies? This is not good. The player doesn't know what the heck is going on. And by the way, Amy, you didn't come with Tails. You freaking liar! We escaped from the prison and battled Shadow. This is also the best scene in the game, and here's why.
Hey, that's...
That blue hedgehog again, of all places.
I found you, Faker.
Faker? I think you're the fake hedgehog around here. You're comparing yourself to me? Huh? You're not even good enough to be
I'll
my
make you eat those words.
The cheese. We then play another Master Emerald stage, and Knuckles' worst one in the game. Then Eggman reveals that he's gonna blow up Earth. Nothing to worry about here. We have another Tails stage. Yay! Another Master Emerald stage, then a card stage. Yes, Rouge and Tails each have a card stage, with horrible turning controls, might I add. After getting so used to the slippery controls, the kart ones are way too tight. Except when you're going extremely fast and crashing is frequent. I do not approve. We get to the president, learn Eggman's plans, and go through a pyramid. Don't ask. By the way, I just want to say that I love Knuckles' stage name for this part of the game. You know, for kids. We also battle 2 bosses in a row, both of which are irritating as a Steam sale during Christmas. Thing is, they're really easy, but they're so annoying. We then go from a desert into space. Surely space will be... Oh, are you freaking kidding me? No more Tails stages. Please!
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again.
Another Master Emerald stage, Battle Rouge, Master Emerald's back, yay, I don't care. Eggman then captures Amy, and Sonic goes to save her. Of course, our heroes blast off into space, and he uses Tails' fake Chaos Emerald to use Chaos Control? Because that's a thing? Seriously, how do you learn it in one go? Then he goes to the cannon's core and puts the fake emerald in it. Final Rush is a stage where you need to have perfected the controls, or else... Dang it. Oh, never mind. Finally, the hero side is finished, and now we have the dark side. We have cookies. The dark side starts off before the hero side, where Eggman... What? No! Eggman goes through the military base on a freaking mecha to find the ultimate weapon. Eggman eventually finds Shadow, who is apparently a genie.
I will grant you one wish.
I wish for a game that's enjoyable. Shadow defeats a robot. Wait. He tells Eggman to collect the Chaos Emeralds and to meet him on the Space Colony Ark. Then we go to Rouge trying to steal the Master Emerald. It is literally the same scene, so let's skip ahead. Apparently Rouge can teleport because we're looking at a swamp and not the freaking desert like Knuckles. Eggman then goes to his hidden base, which isn't that well hidden because there's freaking gun robots everywhere. he learns that Shadow has stolen an emerald from the Federal Reserve Bank and is being mistaken for Sonic. By the way, this is stupid. Eggman can tell Sonic and Shadow apart, but no one else can? Even Amy mistakes Shadow for Sonic at first. I repeat, Amy couldn't tell Sonic and Shadow apart. Stupid freaking plot device. Although the next stage is pretty freaking awesome. It reminds me of Speed Highway from Sonic Adventure for some reason. Oh yeah, and he remembers a girl called Maria or something. Him and Sonic meet, but he gets away using Chaos Control and stuff. And that, kids, is what we call bullcrap. Rouge finds Eggman's I'm Not That Well hidden base and manages to get onto the Ark and joins Shadow and Eggman after some exposition about the Ark. They go to Prison Island where Eggman clears the way and battles Tails. Rouge finds 3 Chaos Emeralds under an infuriating time limit, though I somehow air-egged it. I don't know. And Shadow has to rescue her because she gets trapped after a boss battle. Yeah, it's basically a copy of Sonic and Shadow's robot battles. He also plants a bomb before battling Sonic. Can we play that scene again? The cheese. Back on the Ark, Shadow has a flashback about Maria and how they wondered about what Earth was like. Iron Ruler turned to the Death Star to destroy the moon. Rouge then reveals to Eggman that Tails has the last Chaos Emerald and he orders her to go get it. Card stage! Rouge and Shadow fail to catch up to Tails in his tornado, and Eggman summons the Egg Golem, which we need to fight again. Great! The 3 discover that Sonic and friends are on the Ark, and we have a very, 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 very irritating stage! This is literally the worst stage in the entire game. Even the fans of the game hate it. It's way too freaking big and the radar doesn't help. And to make matters even worse, the computer messages are reversed, so you basically get no help. After doing that, we battle Knuckles and give him the shards. Why? Meanwhile, Amy is being held hostage by Eggman and... Ivo. You don't need to ask where Tails is. He's right freaking there! Sonic's launched into space, we battle Tails, you get the point. We learn that Rouge is actually a government agent trying to find the results of Project Shadow. The results show something way different than a hedgehog, and the two wonder who is actually standing there. Because, you know, Shadow's not the ultimate life form. As if that wasn't obvious. Then we have one final stage with Shadow and gravity gimmicks. This stage was kind of cool, not gonna lie. After clearing that stage, we have a battle with Sonic, then Eggman puts the final emerald that he apparently got into the cannon console and we get a warning sign. So what's happening? Is it Sonic? Is it... oh, credits. Finally! And that's the end of the game. Wait, what? Yes, unfortunately, it is not the end of the game. Like Sonic Adventure, after clearing both sides of the story, you have to play one final stage to get the true ending, which starts after some backstory. The Ark is now heading for Earth, by the way, no big deal. We learned that Shadow and Maria were friends on the Ark before the military shut it down and she was killed. You know, for kids. Now, with Sonic Adventure, the true ending was fine because it was one epic boss battle with Super Sonic. But for this, you play as everyone except Shadow, so slow robots find things and play as Sonic. Well, at least we have him. Except his part is the shortest Scratch game! After that stage, Amy convinces Shadow to help the others by giving a speech that reminds him of promising me to. Then, we have the most awful boss battle ever. Take bad controls, bad camera, and unbearable attacks, and you get this, ladies and gentlemen. After finally beating it, Knuckles uses the Master Emerald, which, by the way, never stays the same size, to stop the Chaos Emeralds. But the Biolizard, you know, the thing we just beat, becomes one with the Ark and keeps the colony heading for Earth. Using the Chaos Emeralds, Shadow and Sonic become Super Shadow and Super Sonic and defeat the final hazard. Creative name. Sonic manages to get back into the Ark, but Shadow falls down to Earth. Eggman wonders why his grandfather would want to destroy humanity. Hypocrite. Rouge tells Knuckles she's gonna stop treasure hunting and that she has something else on her mind. This is an E-rated game, people! Then the game ends with Sonic saying, "Sayonara, Shadow." Well, screw you too. And there you go, that was Sonic Adventure 2 Electric Boogaloo. It honestly feels a lot more like a prequel to Shadow the Hedgehog Run and Sonic Adventure 2, as their problems are pretty similar. It's really sad that such a great game was given such a subpar follow-up that is not only worse, but is, for some reason, preferred over the original. Before I give my final score, let's take a look at the pros and cons of the game. I cannot deny that this game has an incredible soundtrack. I don't think it's better than the first because a few songs can be grating after a bit, but that doesn't hinder it. I love the tracks in this game, especially Live and Learn and Eggman's theme, which is so goofy yet so amazing. Sonic's stages, as well as Shadow's, were by far the best. You had that feeling of going fast, and there were always awesome moments in those stages. It was an escape from the slowness of the game, and it felt amazing. But it's sad that Sonic only has 6 stages out of the 16 hero stages, and Shadow has 4 out of the dark ones. So was I having a lot of fun playing this game? No. I didn't talk about it, but the Chow Garden was pretty fun. I like the kindergarten aspect they introduced, even though you can only bring your child to it in the stage select option. Seriously, Sega. The drives were also pretty interesting. You collect them from enemies, and depending on the color, they raise a certain stat up. However, due to the fact that you need Chow keys to go there, and you can't pick up a Chow you didn't hatch, I didn't find myself going there very often. Now for the cons. And there are a lot of them. A lot. First off, oh my god, the story! If you haven't been listening for the past 15 or so minutes, then consider yourself lucky. It makes no sense. Sega just expects you to get some things, and it has Deus Ex Machina all over it. After the 9th or 10th stage, you aren't going to be interested enough to play. The controls and camera are atrocious, sometimes with the controls being completely unresponsive, which results in a lot of death and rage. The camera constantly fights with you, so you'll get hit by an enemy you didn't see, or you'll fall to your doom. Just the audio in general is bad. If you play this game, subtitles are required because the music will probably be way too loud for you to actually hear the characters.
Dr. Eggman.
So that's Dr. Eggman.
Well, I guess I can use it for something. I'll just take it with me. Farewell, knucklehead.
Not if I can help it.
The stages are the worst offenders in the cons, because out of the 32 stages in the game, Sonic and Shadow only appear in 12 of them. This means for the other 20 stages, it's going down. Slowly. Tails and Eggman's stages are bad shoot 'em up. The new system for Knuckles and Rouge's stages just make them really unbearable. And Sega, can I talk with you for a moment? You know Shadow, cool guy on the front cover of the game. Why go through the trouble of promoting him if he's only in 4 stages? I mean, seriously. And with taking the pros and cons into account and throwing them onto a bounce pad, I give Sonic Adventure 2 a 3.5 out of 10. This is not a good game. It has its shining moments, but they are few and very far between. Quite literally. The story is awful and overly goofy, and the stages are the worst I've seen in a Sonic game. But the shining moments are what made me give it a 3.5 instead of a 2 or 3. Sonic and Shadow stages are quite amazing, even both their final stages, and the soundtrack for every stage, except maybe Pumpkin Hill, are fantastic. The Chow Garden is also good for those who need a break from the boring story. And with my conclusion, Sonic Adventure 2 is a bad donut with a few sprinkles glittered on top of it. If you enjoyed this episode, everyone, which to be honest you probably didn't, then be sure to mash that X button and up, down, left, right, BA, and have a fantastic day. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to get ready for the Sonic fan base. It's no question now whether the 3D platformer dominated the market in the 1990s. Nintendo had Super Mario 64 and Banjo-Kazooie, while the PlayStation had Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon. I mean, they also had Bubsy, but we don't talk about that. However, I've seen a few people mention another less popular PlayStation platforming hero. No, not that. Everyone's talked about that. Oh my god. Guys, meet the Jersey Devil.
What could possibly go wrong?
Developed by Behavior Interactive and published by Sony, as well as Ocean for you Brits out there, Jersey Devil was released on June 1st, 1998 in the US on the PlayStation and later ported to the PC the same year. I mean, it might have been released the same date, who freaking knows. Wait a minute. Well, let's be optimistic. I mean, they also developed Fallout Shelter? What? The game opens with a weird intro sequence. While the styles used in it are amazing, they don't fit well together. The backgrounds just feel out of place with the Don Bluth-esque characters, which are freaking gorgeous. Shut up and take my money. The intro basically provides the background of the devil, which isn't much, and what is there has so many plot holes. Now it's time for everyone's favorite game, What the Devil? Question 1, where did Pumpkinhead find the devil? Question 2, what's the backstory with the scientist and Pumpkinhead? Question 3, what is everyone's motivation? Question 4, why doesn't the scientist have backup blades? Question 5, why is there so much crime in the city? Question 6, why did the devil become a vigilante? Question 7, why was Pumpkinhead so scared? And question 8, what the heck is up with this 2D to 3D conversion? Well, after that, we finally get into the game. Like most 3D platformers back in the 90s, Jersey Devil has collectathon elements in it. There are nitro crates to collect, which boost your nitro power. Honestly, I don't even know what that is. Pumpkins, which are basically the equivalent to the coins from Mario, and hostages, which what hostages? You collect hostages. That's a little screwed up, mate. And finally, the NARF letters, which serve as keys to advance in a stage. NARF. That's a unique word to use. Oh wait, it's the scientist's name. Sucks for him. Anyhow, depending on how well you do collecting things, your completion medal at the end of the level is different. That's it. No extras, no special goodies, nothing. At least in games like Crash Bandicoot, we felt a sense of accomplishment and even got a different ending. I mean, that game was hard, but still. In Jersey Devil, it feels empty. Okay. Let's stop with that. Let's talk about something else. How about the controls, shall we? The controls in Jersey Devil are meh. The basic stuff is actually done really well. Jumping can be a little annoying at times, but that's not too big of a hindrance. Punching is extremely responsive when you hit the button, but we'll be going over hit detection later. And walking feels great, and I never felt the need for a run button. However, while there is a lot of good, there is just as much bad. The gliding in this game is weird and awkward, and I often found myself hammering the button instead of just pressing it. The camera controls are immensely irritating, as L2 and R2 are your only options. I get that it was 1998 and 1997 in Europe, but even Mario had better camera options, and that was in 1996! Now, if this game was just an action game, I could work with these controls, but it's a hybrid action 3D platformer, so it's constantly frustrating, especially since this game has horrible depth perception. Speaking of action, oh my god, the action is horrendous and sometimes unfair. Remember that hit detection I mentioned earlier? But we'll be going over hit detection later. Yeah, it doesn't work sometimes. Here's how the game works. On your side, while the buttons work splendidly, you only hit enemies sometimes, and then you get serious knockback when you're hit. Oh, I fell in a ravine. Meanwhile, the enemies, while weak, have a higher chance of hitting you and have little knockback when you hit them. And Behavior most likely knew about this too. Why do you think it takes so long for you to die from normal enemies? Why do you think there are lives, tails, everywhere? Oh my god, let's move on to something good. Let's go. The graphics and environments in this game are actually detailed quite nicely, maybe even on par with Spyro and Crash. Yeah, I said it. The enemies, while easy to beat due to the slowly depleting life bar, don't look very generic even if they are generic. This spider is so unique compared to every spider released in every game ever. The music, composed by Gilles Leville, is stellar, and I'm surprised it's never mentioned when it comes to underrated soundtracks in video games. Jersey Devil also had a unique feature most 3D platformers didn't have back then: interaction with the environment. Yes, the devil can move crates and hit them to help move on with his journey. For 1998, that's actually pretty freaking cool. Also, while it can be irritating, the camera isn't the worst thing I've come across in gaming. That would be Sonic Adventure 2. I just wish there was a lock-on or reset camera button. Also, the first boss fight is actually a lot tougher than I thought it would be, and that's brilliant. Unfortunately, after level 1, I just stopped. I didn't get a lot of enjoyment or a sense that I had done something when playing Jersey Devil, which is something I like to have when I play a video game. I felt like I was only getting through the level just to get to the next one, which I honestly wasn't even that excited for. So, with taking the pros and cons into account and gliding through the air into a beam of fire, seriously, what the heck, I give Jersey Devil a 5 out of 10. Jersey Devil is that game, the one where it's just painfully average. You can't decide on whether you should give it a 5 or a 6. From my personal experience though, I want to give Jersey Devil a 5. The graphics, music, and concept are all fantastic, and I think if it was remade for the modern age, I think it would be a really good game, especially for the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. However, the controls, camera, and combat system would all need to be redone for it to be actually good. If you see this for a couple of bucks in a retro gaming store, however, I would recommend it. Just like $3 at the most, however. With that said, if you enjoyed, guys, then mash that X button and up, down, left, right, B, A, and have a fantastic day. Now, if you'll excuse me, it's time to solve a mystery. Well, hello. How are you? What's this? Oh, I get it. You're mad because I haven't uploaded in 5 months. Well, shit. Well, I guess I need to review a new game now. But what's review? What's popular nowadays? Oh, you got something? Fuck me. So, yeah. Been quite a while since I've uploaded. I've been busy with real life. Anyhow, since then, a lot has happened in the gaming world. Ukulele came out, Nier Automata was released and has been praised by the gaming community, and Mass Effect Andromeda...
Sorry, my face is tired from dealing with everything.
...was a thing. However, one particular game has been dominating the indie scene, and that game is Bendy and the Ink Machine. Bendy and the Ink Machine, or BATM for short, is a puzzle horror game that came out quite recently. In fact, the first chapter was released in February, and it was developed by a mostly two-man team, which consists of the Mealy and Mike Mood. Before Bendy, the Mealy had only released one other game, which was based off of his webcomic. Also check out his YouTube channel because puppetry. Currently, there are 2 chapters of BATM out, the first one being a free download. But is it worth buying Chapter 2, you may ask? Is the game any good, you may ponder? Just fucking play the game, you may say. So right away, the tone of the game is set. It looks very retro cartoony, with the environment being inked and in sepia. The game also has a droning score, and dust prances around in the air. I love it when games have a theme going on like this, and Bendy pulls it off perfectly in my opinion. So as the game starts, we are put into the dirty old shoes of Henry, a former cartoonist who is revisiting an old animation studio due to a letter that he got from his old co-worker Joey. And what? The voice acting is tremendous. I have never heard voice acting this fucking perfect in an indie game, and it's even better than some AAA titles.
Alright, Joey. I'm here. Let's see if we can find what you wanted me to see. Hey, here's my old desk. I wasted so much time in this chair.
At this point, I don't get what Joey's plan is for this company. The animations sure aren't being finished on time anymore.
Another thing I love is that there's always a feeling of suspense in Batum, and it's mostly because of these Bendy cutouts. They just stand there,
Staring at you as you stuff your face with butter.
As we look around the studio, we find... oh. Well, that's a shame. We finally make it to this power room, and this is where the gameplay comes in. We need to find 6 objects to power the ink machine, a contraption that's sweet honey buns on a Friday. One of the best parts of Batum is that all the scares happen when you don't expect them, or they're amplified. There are very few as well, which is pretty fresh for an indie horror game. Here's where one of my complaints comes in though. You need 6 items. A few are pretty obvious on what you need to get. A gear, a wrench, a doll, etc. But then you have this. Just... what? Amusing note. There's this note in this picture frame, but I can't get it! Seriously, what the hell? Well, wouldn't it be funny if this vinyl... Okay, I'm fine. Let's just continue. Let's talk about the controls for a bit. They're very... Batum's controls can be really good at times, such as walking and... braking, I don't fucking know. Responsive, smooth, nice. Everything it should be. However, the running is way too fucking slow, even for a horror game. I mean, Slender was faster. Also, there's a jump button that's just kinda there. It doesn't serve any purpose, so... why? Also, there's this very weird effect I get when Henry stops. It kinda zooms in, and then the screen is blurry for half a second. I don't really get why it's there, but hey, I didn't make the game. I'm just a random YouTuber. My final minor complaint. This game falls under the trope of having too many locked
doors.
I fucking hate this trope. You're like, oh my god, a new area to explore. I wonder where it could... ah well, I got the 6 items. All I need to do is get the power back. Bendy, run, hell! Ah, there we go. Wait, why is it dark? Better go check on the ink machine. Oh, this doesn't look good. Well, might as well. Fucking what? Oh my god, Batum, that was mean. Naughty Batum. Time to leave, time to... okay, well that was just rude. After getting an axe, we chop our way to a pentagram and... oh. Now, this nightmare looks fun. I can't wait to see what... well... okay, to be honest, I'm letting these guys a little off the hook here. The chapters in Batum are honestly very short. Chapter 1 was only 28 minutes, and Chapter 2 seems to be just as long. It was a 2-man team, so I can't really blame them too much. Essentially, Chapter 1 is, well, a demo. And it makes sense, it was how the game got greenlit, and it was the original game that was up on GameJolt. However, would I recommend Batum to all you lovely people out there? Yeah, I would. Bendy only really has some minor problems, which are half of the controls, that weird effect when Henry stops, and the locked doors. I mean, come on! It doesn't hold it back a lot though. Nah. Bendy has some of the best atmosphere, voice acting, and even scares in not only an indie game, but for a AAA game no less. Overall, I would think that Batum is commendable and deserves a rightful 8.5 out of 10. If you want to support Batum, just go to the description below where I've provided a link to the Meatly's Patreon, which is how he is getting the money to create this really good game. I've also left both Meatly and Mood's Twitters in the description below so you can check those out as well. With that said, if you guys have enjoyed this video, then mash that X button and up, down, down, left, right, BA, and have an amazing day. Now, if you all will excuse me, things are about to get odd.
Hello. Hello. Follow me. Wait.
Well, that was odd. Hello, everyone. Soulstorm Brew. The 90s. We had good games and weird food. The 90s was one of the best times for the gaming industry. Not only did it launch several successful franchises, but we made our conversion from the 2D plane to the 3D plane. And what kind of games were the most popular? Platforming! Yes, we had games like Half-Life and Majora's Mask, but if it was a platformer, your wall would be so empty that even flies would rest in there. Oh, you don't believe we had a lot of platformers? Well, let me name a few. Super Mario 64, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon, Klonoa, Door Defense, Mario Banjo-Kazooie, Croc, Legend of the Gobbos, Donkey Kong 64, Rayman, Kirby 64, The Crystal Shards, Gargoyle's Bad Fur Day, Yoshi's Story, and Tomba. Oh my god, wow. Now that's all fun and cool, but what happens when you take two filmmakers, both with extraordinary visions, and they decide to make a game? You get cinematic platforming. The cinematic platformer wasn't a new genre with games such as Prince of Persia and Flashback, but did you ever hear someone say, hey, did you get past that section in Flashback on the playground? Because I didn't. Anywho, in 1994, Sherry McKenna and Laura Lanning formed Oddworld Inhabitants, a company that would combine gaming and filmmaking to tell one grand story. McKenna would handle most of the background stuff, while Lanning would be the creative force, which included writing and designing the world of their games. They started working on Soulstorm in 1995, which was originally going to be 3D, but Lanning changed this due to how the graphics looked at the time. Oh, come on, they weren't that... Oh. Yeah, these aren't dated. Beautiful. Then, after a 21-month-long development stage and the decision to rename their product, Oddworld Abe's Odyssey was released on September 19th, 1997. The game was an instant hit due to its challenging gameplay, great production quality, and the graphics, which still hold up today, unlike some other games. After the success of Abe's Odyssey, the game's publisher, GT Interactive, wanted Lanning and McKenna's team to develop a sequel in 9 months. Wait, what? Shockingly, Oddworld inhabitants were able to create Oddworld Abe's Exodus in time for a November 1998 release. Not only that, but they managed to improve the game speak and add 200 more Mudokons to the game. Wow. My hat goes off to you, Oddworld inhabitants. Things started to get a little bumpy after this, however. GT Interactive was about to close. This was bad. Needing to get funding for their next game in the Oddworld universe, Lanning signed a contract with Microsoft, where they would be developing an Xbox exclusive. The world went like this. The next game was also going to be Oddworld Inhabitants' first bite into the third-dimensional plane, but another problem hit. Their team only knew how to do 2D programming. After many other bumps in the road, including Microsoft wanting the game to be called Abe and Munch's Fun Adventures. You know, because this is fun. Oddworld Munch's Odyssey was released as a launch title for the Xbox with other titles such as Oh Dear. The game underperformed, which disappointed the team, but they still went ahead with their next project, Oddworld Stranger's Wrath. The company now decided to let Electronic Arts publish the game. Oh, that's just swell. Originally there was going to be a PS2 port, but it didn't work, so EA went into a room one day and went,
Hey, you know this game series people love.
yeah,
Let's not promote it.
okay. And so, like Munch's Odyssey, the game underperformed despite critical acclaim, and Oddworld went on hiatus for a while. Then New and Tasty came out and the world was saved. Yay! I honestly did not know what to expect going into Stranger's Wrath. I was a bit worried since I had only played the Abe games before, and this was a huge change to the formula. But guys, I think I like this game the most out of all of them. Now, let me explain. Time to get that moolah. The game begins with the cutscene where our protagonist is chasing a criminy Jiminy bad guy, and guys, I'm not lying when I say that Stranger is the most badass character in gaming. What other character can break a gun with their bare hands?
Oh man, why'd you have to do that?
Yeah, you ain't getting that back. Also, if you say that anyone else can make this more badass.
Now that's how you get 'em.
You're lying, and you need to sit in the corner and think about the things you've said. Stranger makes his way back to town in probably the best tutorial ever.
Yes. Drown, my pretties. Drown so I can collect your life savings and mangle bodies.
We eventually get back to the first town of Gizzard Gulch. The towns are a very unconventional hub where you select bounties to take before you decide to run back in the wild and go bam 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 bam. I might as well talk about the gameplay while I'm at it, huh? Stranger's Wrath is played in both a third-person and a first-person perspective. You can freely switch between these views at the press of a button, and it's buttery smooth. Okay, I know that doesn't sound smooth, but you get the point. Both views have different advantages and disadvantages. Third person lets you run and use melee attacks, which is great for weaker enemies, but not for the stronger one. First person, on the other hand, lets you use your modified crossbow, which is great for stronger enemies, but you can't run. You also have a selection of ammo rather than guns, which you hunt for in the wild and gain along the way. It adds a great element of strategy to the game that I personally like. Good job, Oddworld inhabitants. You get the thumbs up. After you defeat them pesky critters, you can snag them up to get moolah later when you turn the bounty in. There's also a unique moolah system to this game. When you go to the bounty store, you can see how much moolah you get for the wanted baddie. However, they're worth more alive than they are dead. In order to capture bounties alive, you have to take down their stamina meter, as they'll get tired and faint. My preferred method is the Zapfly Thud Slug technique. But if you want them dead, I don't know why you would, you need to take down their health bar. It's a nice touch that the enemies have stamina and health bar like you do, at least IMO. I usually got all of the bounties alive, but I unfortunately killed 2 of them.
How could this happen to me? I made my mistakes.
The moolah you earn can then be used to buy upgrades, which I recommend doing because this is freaking awesome. After nabbing, or killing, your first 2 bounties, you go to... I'm sorry, but I need to know who voices Stranger. It's amazing. I'm starting to wonder if this man is a god. Anyway, Stranger goes off to meet Doc, a rather shady vicar, who tells him the cost of the life-saving surgery our protagonist needs. Huh. So it's just like real life. As we exit the office, we see that Boyle's Booty, the brother of the baddie we bagged at the beginning, has come to town to claim his revenge. And, oh god, shit, damn, piss off, yeah. This game is hard. Although I would definitely agree that the Abe games are harder by far. Oh, piss off! Stranger's Wrath is no walk in the park. Prepare to die, and die, and die. You see, you need to be quick on your feet and make sure you use the right ammo, can heal up, and duck behind something. The only way to heal up is by doing a Tarzan yell, which uses up your stamina, and if you run out of stamina, balls. This battle took me a bit, but I eventually got through with the power of saving. Since there's nothing left in Gizzard Gulch and we have to get even more moolah than before, we go to Buzzerton, where a new slew of bounties are waiting. I guess I should talk about the bounty battles, eh? After battling through a lot of minions, and I mean a lot, you face a boss. Now you might be like, big deal, it's just a shoot cover shoot thing, right? And you're wrong. Each boss battle is surprisingly different for a shooter game. One boss could be battling a weird monster and the boss, while the other could be trying to take down a force field. Also, screw this battle, it's wank. The game also still has a sense of humor like the other Oddworld games. Time for some chuckles, everyone.
The password is... Whoa, did you just say... So you heard what the Five Fingers said to the face?
Lorne Lanning is best comedian 10 out of 10. After bagging all the baddies in Buzzerton, we get an offer from an Octihi named Secto. He asks Stranger to find Steve head to add to his collection, and oh my god, these heads are terrifying. He also asks another bounty hunter, Decastrator, you see what they did there? To nab it as well, and whoever gets it first will get 20,000 moolah. Since Buzzerton doesn't have any more bounties because Stranger is too cool for them, it's time to go to New York City. I want to take this time to talk about the graphics and the music of the game. The graphics surprisingly hold up both in the cutscenes and gameplay, something really hard to pull off with 3D technology. Obviously. And you think they look rather drab because of the predominantly sandy colors, but they don't, to be honest, which is remarkable. And the music. Oh, the flipping music. Michael Bross, you are amazing, and I'm going to buy a physical copy of the soundtrack on Amazon. Wait, what? The soundtrack is a fusion of spaghetti western music and electronica. Now, that doesn't sound too good on paper, but just take a listen. Freaking awesome, right? When we back up all of New York's bounties, we learn that Doc is waiting for us in his Mongo Valley River office. Maybe I should have gotten all those upgrades. Well, let's go anyway. Oh dear, that's not good. Then we're thrust into the heart of war when Raider attacks us. I'm not ready! Oh. We just need to live for a bit. Unfortunately, Stranger is tricked by Raider and gets hung up in his hideout. As he struggles to get out, the bell for his surgery comes out and Raider tells his minions to rip his clothes off. What was this rated again? Yeah, that's what I thought. As his pants are ripped off, God, that just sounds dirty. We learn the secret that Stranger has been hiding and why he needs surgery.
It's a goddamn Steve! He's been tying his legs! Got no horn!
This is probably one of those things you shouldn't think about. Thankfully, after managing to burn Raider alive, we escape from the area and... Hey, why are you shooting at me? We learned that the grubs helped Stranger escape and oh, this is not gonna get annoying.
That's right, it was us, dude. Cause we need your help.
Long story short, the Steve protected the grubs, but there aren't many Steve, if any, besides Stranger left. The grubs were eventually pushed away from their homes by Secto, who built a dam to create bottled water, and the Clackers, these things, and won it all back. And so, fueled by revenge from both the grubs and himself, and equipped with some awesome armor and a sweet-ass crossbow, Stranger heads out to end this once and for all. Balls. We eventually get a boat and make it to Last Legs. Is it too late to turn back? After fighting through Last Legs and making it into the dam, where we meet these monstrosities only H.P. Lovecraft could love, we make it to Secto. Honestly, Secto's fight is very meh, and it just might be the worst fight in the game. But then the ending hits. Oh, the ending. The water from the dam is free, giving the grubs back their home. But we find out that the secto we fought was a possessed elder thief, and that the real secto is still out there. It is one of the most bittersweet endings in gaming, and deserves to be played through. It is a sin to just watch it on YouTube. Seriously, play through Stranger's amazing journey and see it for yourself. Or you can be a complete dick. And so, what are my final thoughts about Stranger's Wrath? 9 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 9 out of 10! This is honestly my new favorite game, and if you thought I was being vague in my review, that was on purpose. This game runs on Steam, in HD and at 60 FPS, and I think that you should get it at full price or not. It is worth your time, trust me. Warren Lanning is a true visionary in the gaming world, and I can't wait for Oddworld Soulstorm, and the next part of the Oddworld Quintology. If you enjoyed, guys, then mash the X button and up, up, down, down, left, right, B, A, and have an amazing day. Now, if you'll excuse me, I can't really segue into this next one. It's 84 degrees in my room and I'm dying. Hello everybody and welcome to the first top 10 list of the channel. I'm digging my grave with this, aren't I? Like my other Wednesday show, Half Hour Power, these reviews will be more serious, but at the same time, opinionated. Well, as you know, today is June 7th, which means that summer is arriving. Unless you live in Oregon where hell takes you in its grasp 2 months early. So I thought to celebrate the fact that most of you are about to be let out of school, I would make a top 10 summer games list. A few rules before we begin, however. 1 game per franchise, I think that goes without saying, and it has to either A, take place during the summer at some point, or B, it has to take place in a summery setting. And guys, this is my list, so if you don't like it, well, too bad for you. Make your own damn list.
Number 10.
I honestly could put any of the Mario Party games on here since each of them has a freaking island on it somewhere, but I decided to go with Mario Party 7. While Island Tour was a game, and you could argue it had more of a summer feeling to it, Mario Party 7's story takes place on an actual cruise ship, so essentially it is an island tour. So you can flip off. It definitely isn't the best Mario Party, which is why it's at number 10 on this list, but I still like it. And hey, what screams summer like party games?
Number 9.
Persona 4? What? But it takes place in school. Well guys, there is unfortunately such a thing as summer school, which is why it's on this list. The school part isn't really even a big part of the game, it's more about socialization, which I'm terrible at. Also, there's a friggin' beach trip, because Japan? I imagine this is what most teenagers want their school life to be anyway, slaying away their problems and occasionally going on school trips. So yeah, Persona 4. Oh no.
Number 8.
Well, the third generation of Pokemon definitely introduced the oceanic feeling to the series. Pokemon Sun and Moon takes place on just islands. It definitely has a Hawaiian feel as you explore the island, and the Tapu Pokemon were even based off of Hawaiian gods. I would say who they were, but I would horribly mispronounce them. It definitely is a real island tour as you run around looking for your next gym battle, trial. Also this guy. And this guy. If they don't look like a summer vacation, I don't know who does.
Number 7.
While Animal Crossing is mostly about
being in crippling debt,
there are some side activities you can do, especially during the summer. There are, of course, the holidays you can take part in. The big 3 are the fishing tourney, the most interactive one, the fireworks festival, and the meteor shower, which I never went to. I prefer to catch fish and bugs in their seasonal cycle. One day I will complete that museum. Oh shit.
Oh, no, not the beast! Not the beast! Ah!
Number 6.
Nothing says 90s and maybe summer like Jet Set or Jet Grind Radio. fucking localization. The game's attitude and look screams summer. Don't tell me when you started summer vacation and were let out of class, you didn't want to do something bad. I mean, you probably didn't spray paint the school, but... Jet Set Radio! The game also has a sunny look to it. Nope, not that sun. The color scheme of the game is also mostly neon yellow, further creating a summery feeling. However, it's only number 6 because the PC version doesn't save your game. Balls.
Number 5.
This is definitely the most opinionated entry on the list, but there was a hotel my parents took me to a few times during the summer up in Washington. And while it had an arcade, which I adored, it also had this.
Fucking mini golf.
So, here's golf with your friends. It has a desert, and a Candyland.
And you can make your golf ball fucking pink.
But yes, memories.
Number 4.
Going back to the theme of rebellion, I guess, you never see a skate rink empty in the summer. While my favorite game in the franchise is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, I decided to go with Underground instead because you're touring the world in story mode, and you get to visit San Diego, Tampa, and Hawaii.
Except Hawaii is my least favorite level. Fuck!
But yeah, this game always had a summer feel to it in my opinion, and it makes it into number 4 on the list.
Number 3.
Most people like Friends of Mineral Town most, but honestly I didn't really get a summer feel from it, except when Kai came to town. But Magical Melody, oh sweet popsicles. Magical Melody not only had better festivals and even more than Animal Crossing, but they actually helped you progress through the story, and you can even see the effects of the heat on the screen. It's beautiful, but those monsoons can go die in a hole.
Number 2.
Can't afford your own summer vacation? Make one for your sim. Kinda breaking the one game rule because most of the games are alike, but I'll go with The Sims 4. Can't go to the pool? Build one. Oh, can't go camping? Buy an expansion.
Can't murder your neighbor because they have a spouse and child and would go looking for them?
You sick flounder. Then after all this, you can question the meaning of life. The Sims 4. Existentialism, the video game.
Number 1.
If you didn't expect this game to be on this list, I severely question your selection of video games. Wii Sports Resort. It's in the fucking title. While it might be just a selection of minigames, it is all revolved around the island. You have skydiving, power cruising, piloting, wakeboarding, table tennis. That was a missed opportunity. Swordplay, basketball, archery, frisbee, canoeing, bowling, and golf. And it all takes place here. Woohoo Island. The perfect party game on a resort island. And despite needing this, it's still very fun and holds up today, which is why it is the best summer game. And guys, that was my list of my top 10 summer games. Some of them were probably summery, some probably weren't. But still, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you guys did enjoy it, make sure to mash that X button and up, down, left, right, BA. And have an amazing day. It's 83 now. So most kids have the common dream of going to the stars. When I was a kid, the magic school bus dashed those dreams. That's right. It wasn't Alien or Event Horizon that dashed my dreams of going to space. It was an educational children's show. So I thought since it's around the anniversary of when that happened, it probably isn't, we would hold a funeral. Yeah, a space funeral. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Let's just turn on the PC and I have a game all loaded up, so let's go and do that. What the actual hell did I just play? Hello everybody, I have a question. What game allows you to talk to a vampire, turn into a fish, and fight a rainbow dragon? Space Funeral. Anticlimax! This game is weird, man. WYUHRD weird. Released in 2010 by the Catamites for RPG Maker, Space Funeral is a surrealistic RPG and oh boy, that's an understatement. This was back when most RPG Maker games were horror-based, like The Witch's House and Eve, so Space Funeral was a fresh take on the style of games. But would I recommend it next to other RPG classics? Let's find out. Alright, the game's loading. Okay, no, fuck this. Yeah, this is the main menu for the game. It's a zombie alien thing? And I don't know if it's just me, but I could really go for some
blood. Grab a glass because there's going to be a flood.
So right away, weird. After a few seconds of listening to the amazing menu music, I actually clicked blood. So, I'm trying to think of a joke, but I got nothing. I have never seen graphics that look this odd, depressing, and painful before. In the game, we play Philip, this boy. Or Blob? Let's go with Bloib. And this is our very first line of text in the game. Your mother and I think you should leave? This is the most blunt and depressing fucking play the game line I've ever seen. Might as well leave the house and oh. Well, you definitely get a check mark on the surreal box. Sir? Are you okay? You seem to have lost your head. After exploring the town for a bit with this chill jam, I talked to the wizard of Scum Village who... wow. He tells me to find the wizard Grum in the Blood Cavern. In order to do that, we need to find a weapon from the Bone Swamp. The Bone Swamp also is the first place where you can fight enemies in the game, and to be honest, each enemy is pretty creative in their design, and I like each of them. Okay, most of them. But the battle system itself is flawed. The actual battles themselves are nice, with a good recharge mechanic in place rather than it being turn-based. Oh cool, I leveled up. Awesome, time for the next... wait, I leveled up again? Alright, let's continue. Oh, fuck off! Leveling up happens very easily in this game. It did happen after all the battles, but it was pretty frequent. Also, the enemy's difficulty is unfortunately pretty easy. The only time I actually died was outside of battle. Even if you are concerned about dying though, you don't need to worry because all the enemies drop blood packs. Wait, what? Yeah, the blood thing isn't actually an overused creepypasta trope. You use blood to heal yourself in the game, and even if you run out, they're pretty cheap in the town. Wait, is Philip not a bloib, but instead a vampire? Also, one of his special attacks is crying. This game, man. After fighting, holy shit, what is that? We get a rusty knife and can be on our merry way. Wait, we just made our way through a swamp with no weapon and beat a dragon to get the weapon. That makes no fucking sense! Up north of town, we fight the dogs from Resident Evil and meet our companion for the game, Leg Horse. You heard right. He's a horse made of legs. My brain is frying right now. After helping Leg Horse escape from the dogs, we learn that he's an asshole. Thankfully, Leg Horse isn't an unlikable asshole, and he actually provides a lot of the humor in the game. I just wish Phil could catch a break. Someone hug this bloib. Ah! Land shark, help! We eventually make it to a port where we need to buy tickets for a boat ride. Fine. On our way to Blood Cavern, we find out from Leg Horse information about the Great Change, something that made the land completely different than what it originally was. Cool story, bro. Finally, we make it to our destination.
When the low, heavy sky weighs like a lid on the spirit, aching for the light, and when, embracing the horizon, it pours on us a black day which is sadder than any night. When the earth is turned into a dripping dungeon in which hope, like a bat, flutters blindly.
I'm sorry, I thought I was playing Space Funeral, not fucking PT. When we reach the wizard, Leghorse demands to talk with him first, and then I die because the wizard didn't have enough blood this morning. After talking to him without, we learn that we need to go to the City of Forms and get no encouragement at all. What the hell even is this? Oh, it's not like I wanted to sleep tonight. Wait, mystery? What's this? Well, okay then. After beating the shit out of this demon, we escape and arrive in Malice. The townsfolk are scared of a crime lord named Rip the Blooded. I'm sorry. Anyway, the town is overrun with crime and we have to help. Because... RPG! Okay, why are these two just telling me how to get to the hideout? That's a little counteractive. So we make it to the fortress, and this is an interesting security system. After making my way downtown, we fight Rip the Blood who... I'm sorry. After defeating Rip the Blood, we meet the mystical Djinn and learn that Leghorse apparently isn't in his true form, which is why he's going to the City of Forms as well. I wish for happiness. Okay. And now I'm a fish.
Brilliant!
Exiting Malice, we flop our way to the Mystery Forest.
I'm gonna catch you, you elf!
Eventually, we arrive at what was Leghorse's home. Before the Great Change, he was Prince Horus, and he ruled the land with his brother Dag, who we then unintentionally kill. We then make our way to the Northern Waste where, oh hi Dracula! This is the weirdest conversation you will ever have with a vampire. Nothing else of interest, time to go to the City of Forms. Oh my god, my eyes! This is the City of Forms? It looks like a 2D version of LSD Dream Emulator. The town itself seems to be a weird kind of art gallery, and the music fits the setting perfectly. On our way to fight, oh my... So this is Moon, who has essentially made the City of Forms formless. As an artist, it was so perfect to him that he was corrupted by it, and he decided to corrupt the world itself. Unfortunately, Moon's battle is nothing special. Kind of a shame since he's the final boss. Once we defeat Moon, the city starts collapsing and... Wait, what? So that was Space Funeral. Had nothing to do with space. Or funerals. Kind of an inappropriate choice now that I think about it. It's a very unique game with an interesting visual style, a good story, and a kick-ass soundtrack. However, it is still flawed in some areas. The battle system could be tweaked just a bit, and the bosses need some serious improvement, and as it is right now, the game is just too easy. Also, this game is shockingly short. I managed to beat it in nearly 50 minutes, so it's more like an appetizer than the actual full dish. But what is my rating? Well, I think I give Space Funeral a 7.5 out of 10. It's still a good game, and I most likely missed some stuff when I was running through it, so it still has a high replay value. It's really just the battles and the length that hold it back, to be honest. If you guys enjoyed this video, then mash that X button, and up, down, left, right, BA, and have an amazing day. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna need some help for this next one. You know what? Fuck it. Why should I try if this game doesn't? I want to burn it! Hello everybody, and welcome to me criticizing the worst game I have ever played. Yeah.
Fuck my life.
Lame and shit, Dead Men is a third-person shooter developed by IO Interactive that was released in 2007 and was published by Eidos. Now with those companies, you'd think you'd get a decent game, right?
What the fuck is this?
I mean, popsicle sticks on a Sunday. I know all I've done is whine and complain with no context yet, but seriously, I hate this game. As I sat playing it, I thought of all the things I could have been doing. Like playing something better. And so, let us dive into lame and shit, Dead Men. So the game starts with a cutscene that is just Kane, our main protagonist, reading a letter. There's no context other than that he is being executed for his crimes. But what the fuck even were they? Another death row inmate, Lynch, then helps us break out of the van, and how do these graphics look this bad already? I know this game came out 10 years ago, but what other games came out 10 years ago and looked just fine? Oh wow, no, how about Resident Evil fucking 4? We then finally get to the gameplay and... oh, how programmed do third shooting person? Seriously, this is what they thought was a good view for shooting? Give me some personal space, man. Let's actually talk about the shooting.
It's fucking shit.
The enemies are either weak as all hell, or are all bullet sponges that can waste all your ammo. And the worst part, your health is the same way. So you can either be a shitty badass, or you can die in one hit. I mean, what the actual fuck? I also would not recommend using the SMGs as holy shit the recoil. Also, if enemies aren't in a certain range, they don't take damage. Good fucking job, IO. Also, don't shoot blindly. It fucking sucks. This game also has a cover system. Now, I'm not against cover systems, they just need to be done properly. And Pain and Lunch is the perfect example of how not to program a cover system. Kane will sometimes connect perfectly with the wall, which can be for better or worse, and sometimes it can be really fucking frustrating. I often found myself taking damage anyway as well. That's fucking fair. But anyway, we escape and are then brought to the Seven, a group of crime lords that have kidnapped Kane's wife and daughter. Kane is given 3 weeks to bring them the money he supposedly owes them, or they die. Now see, this is a time that you should feel for Kane, and I would, if I knew anything about him. This game has a serious exposition problem, so if something comes up where I'm supposed to relate or connect with these characters, it's just like, okay. And when you do get to know these characters, they are the worst. Rain and Ditch are supposed to be anti-heroes or protagonists that walk on a morally gray line. However, these two, mostly Kane, fall into downright villainy. And I get that's the point, but all it did was make me hate them. Want to know how to write a good anti-hero? Look at Deadpool, James Bond, or even fucking Hamlet. Also, the voice acting in this game is not that good. There are moments that are supposed to be very dramatic, but the lines are read so deadpan and uninterested that you just don't give a shit.
Oh, fuck off! Fuck! Oh, fuck! My ears are bleeding! I can't take any more of this shit!
So you might be like, oh, this is just the beginning of the game. Surely it'll get better. After shooting some policemen who came in during the tutorial, I decided to take a break from the shock and horror. When I came back, I found out this game's save system is horrendous. The game is divided into chapters, which are then divided into scenes. However, the menu doesn't make it entirely clear that you've completed a chapter, and if you want to resume the game, but haven't finished a chapter, you have to complete all of the scenes you've played again. Anyway, Kane steals half of the money from a bank while Lynch holds the civilians hostage. However, Lynch has an episode and shoots most of the victims dead, and what the fuck?
God, this van sequence can fall into Hades' ass.
We then head to Tokyo to get the other half of the money, kidnapping the daughter of Red Omoto, another crime lord. But then Lynch kills her when his medication wears off again. Oh yeah, he takes medication. That's what this story is like. Random exposition when it's too late. Even then, that isn't how psychosis works, so they even got that wrong. These writers are shit at their job. Kane realizes they're out of time. Wait, what? We had 3 weeks to get the money. I imagine that at most, it would take these guys a week and a half to do all this. Were they just digging around for 11 days?
Tell them I'm coming. Tell them
I'll make sure you don't.
Lynch reveals he was going to get a position with the Seven if Kane survived, but that plot point is quickly resolved as Lynch is betrayed.
You fucking lying traitors! You promised!
Who fucking wrote this game? After hearing Kane get rightfully scolded by his wife, she gets shot.
Let me talk to them!
Good job, I.O. Kill the only good character so far. Damon spits, then defend Jenny, Kane's daughter from the Seven's minions, and then... Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was playing Kane and Lynch, not Leisure Suit Larry box office bust. Well, okay, this fight isn't fair. You're supposed to shoot the driver, but you only have 2 kinds of guns, which you need to pick up. But the glass is almost bulletproof, so the solution...
Get fucking lucky.
Also this. The road just ends. Because... game development! Jenny then runs, and Kane and Lynch decide to bring together a bunch of dead men to get back at the Seven.
Listen, my wife was murdered 5 years ago. Back then, I didn't do shit about it. I'm not gonna make the same mistake again.
You really sound like you care, man. The prison breakout is probably the only decent level in the game, but even then, it's still shit. Oh. Kane, are you okay, buddy? Also, I should mention the AI. It's okay when it's just Lynch, but when you have 4 people to look after, it's a mess. Sometimes they won't follow or obey you, and it's just like, we need to complete the story. After breaking out of prison, we head back to Tokyo and execute Renamoto and his guards. We then get the other half of the money, which we used to finance our war with the Seven. Then we go to Havana, and this is where the game is full-on tedious. You either die, you get injured saving your partners, or random bullshit pops up that leads to a game over. Speaking of game overs, the game has an adrenaline system. If you are about to die, you arrive at
Spoiler Central? Question mark.
Then a partner can come over and pump adrenaline into your body to get you to full health and fight back. However, you can overdose, which obviously kills you, your AI will be dumbasses, or the amount of adrenaline Kane can take is not specified. It's shit and needs fixing. Maybe they'll update it. Oh wait, it's a 10-year game that never got patched. We find Carlos, one of the Seven, who is betrayed by the brothers. We recruit him to the team, and Thapa, one of the inmates that we rescued, leaves. Aww. Oh wait, I don't care. After going through the Venezuelan desert and finding the brothers, Carlos gets captured after trying to plant a bomb at their compound. He then reveals Jenny has been kidnapped over his radio, and we break in. Carlos is beaten and Jenny is about to get shot, so what do? Only shoot the bomb because logic. Oh great, another car sequence. Just what I wanted. We then kill the brothers and get to Jenny.
Jenny? Jenny. I'm here now. Are you alright? Baby, let me hold you.
Get the fuck away from me, you murderer!
What? But why?
I said get the fuck away!
Jenny, I'm your father!
Shut up! I should fucking kill you! You abandoned us!
Honey, I'm sorry,
For 14 years!
Oh god. I found what could have fixed the game. A morality system. It would have made sense since these guys are supposed to be anti-heroes and this could be one of the consequences for bad morale. But no. Kane is just a shithead. We then have the choice of going to the church to save Rippick and Shelley, some of our other men, or just saving Jenny. I chose to save my men because I love torturing myself, but either way, your ending is never good. It's always bad. Now look, I'm fine with bad endings. I felt Heavy Rain did this really well. But to balance the bad, you need the good. And there is none. It isn't even bittersweet, it's just bad. So what does this game get rated? No doubt, 2 out of 10. The critics back in 2007 were being fucking generous in my opinion. This game has a horrible story, it's buggy, it's unfinished, and the gameplay is just atrocious. Oh wait, you want my opinion on the soundtrack? Forgettable. Cannot remember a single track from the game. And now, some people are starting to recognize these flaws, and that makes me just a little bit happier. It only gets a 2 because it's a good concept and IO just royally fucked it up. IO should have waited and delayed the game, waited until it was more developed in every area, and until the game was actually finished. Good thing there wasn't a sequel. To be continued. Well guys, it seems that E3 has finally come around, which gives me a bigger reason to procrastinate. Anyway, I have my review ready for Saturday, so I think I'm gonna watch some E3 conferences, and I'll see you when I'm done.
Come, let's mix where Rockefellers walk with sticks or umbrellas in the midst, putting on the Ritz.
Oh dear. So E3 has now come and gone. There were some conferences, and there were some conferences, but I still managed to find some games I'm actually a little excited for. So here are my top 10 E3 2017 games that I am excited for. These can be from any time during E3, not just the conferences, and so with that out of the way, let's get into it.
Number 10.
Surprisingly, the game kicking off this list is a VR game. I'm serious. Supermassive Games released Until Dawn a couple years ago and it was widely acclaimed, so when they showed off The Inpatient at E3 this year, I was actually pretty psyched. I don't normally like horror games that take place in asylums, hence why I don't like Outlast very much. But with the switching between interacting with the staff and actually going full on horror, it looks interesting. However, it's only number 10 because, like I said, it's a VR game. I'll check it out if it's just VR compatible, but if it requires it, well, no.
Number 9.
To say Bethesda's conference was disappointing is, well, an understatement. However, they did show a couple of games that I think look good, one of which being the sequel to The Evil Within, aptly titled The Evil Within 2. Well, The Evil Within was kind of meh. It wasn't the worst game ever made by far, and with all the other horror games coming out at the time, it was a breath of fresh air, especially since it was at the helm of Shinji Mikami, the creator of
Resident Evil.
And The Evil Within 2 seems much better in my opinion. It looks more atmospheric and less action-oriented. I mean,
I have so many fucking questions right now.
That's not saying it won't be action-oriented, but I like what I saw and most likely will pick it up.
Number 8.
Oh, David Cage. You have good ideas, but can really fuck them up sometimes. Which is why I hope you don't fuck up Detroit Become Human. I've been waiting for this game for a while now, and I'm glad to say that it didn't disappoint me at E3 this year. It looks like the game won't just be a full-on button presser, and I love the idea of having your character permanently die in the game. Think of it like Fire Emblem, but less swords and more guns. It provides a lot of endings and ideas, and I can't wait to try the game once it comes out. Unless it's like this piece of shit.
Number 7.
With this entry, I was honestly kind of pissed that it wasn't shown during the conferences. I mean, come on. I don't think gaming companies know how much people actually like Lovecraftian horror. And it's really nice to see the Cthulhu franchise coming back with, well, Call of Cthulhu. It actually looks pretty damn beautiful yet grimy, which I think will benefit the atmosphere. Also, water. Sweet water. The story seems to be more inspired by the mythos, but it looks like it will fit right in with Lovecraft's lore. Okay, fine, I'll shut up about horror games.
Number 6.
I think most of us can agree that Ubisoft's conference was a lot of yawn and sigh. But the one thing that got everyone out of their seats, minus Luke and Eli from Rocket Sloth, was the trailer for Beyond Good and Evil 2. Holy shit, this looks good. I can't really say anything about the gameplay yet, sadly, but overall the quality of the movie and story looks sky high, and holy shit, there was an F-bomb.
That's Swiss fucking chocolate!
It's just after waiting over a decade for a sequel, prequel, we're all psyched. Ubisoft, don't fuck it up.
Number 5.
After the garbage that was shiny number grime, it was nice to see Cuphead at the Xbox conference this year. Wait, it has a release date? Oh god. Oh god. But in all seriousness, this game does look like a fun co-op Mega Man style shooter, and I can't wait for it. Okay, maybe I can.
Number 4.
This one is a bit of a tie because, well, neither were shown at the conferences and they're from the same franchise. You know what I'm talking about. Yes, I'm excited for both Sonic Mania and Sonic Forces. Sonic Mania looks like a fun 2.5D style Sonic game. With the return to basics, I believe will appease the Sonic fans of old, while Sonic Forces is a sequel sort of to Generations. And I don't care what anyone says, to be honest, I can't wait to use the fucking character creator, so shove it. I'm honestly just surprised it wasn't shown off at the stages, and instead we got this.
It looks like when you have a pool and you don't, after a hurricane, right? No one takes care of it.
Number 3.
Wait, is that what I think it is? No, it can't be. They stopped making those games, so... Oh!
Number 2.
Fuck the haters, Super Mario Odyssey looks good and I'm sick of all the nitpicking. It looks like a return to 3D platformers as Super Mario Sunshine Year, something I've wanted for a while. Also, I think the ability system is a nice change. Instead of using a crummy mushroom, you are able to become a fucking Goomba. Also the human characters. No one complained when Sonic Adventure did it, so shut up! And before we move on to number 1, I do have a couple of honorable mentions. We have Code Vein, that looked like a fun game. We have Kirby, of course, can't forget that cute little marshmallow. God of War looks good. Spider-Man looks interesting. Quake Champions, that could be a fun shooter. And Anthem. Please don't be like Mass Effect Andromeda.
Number 1.
Ending off with EA? You're insane, Ross! No, not really. A Way Out looks like a really fun prison breakout game, and honestly, it looks like what I really wanted Kane and Lynch to be. Technically, it's actually pretty damn impressive with the whole separate cutscene shit, and guys, it just looks damn fun. I'm sorry if you wanted Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Star Wars.
But frankly, I want something new and refreshing, and this is it. That is why A Way Out takes the number 1 spot on the top 10 games I'm excited for from E3 2017. Now I'm sure you all have your opinions, so be sure to leave them down in the comments below if you want to. And if you want to see me talk more in depth about the E3 conferences this year, you can head over to Rocket Sloth, where I was on the Spacecast and we talk about E3 and Kickstarter funding and all that kind of stuff. If you enjoyed this video, then mash that X button and up, down, left, right, BA, and have an amazing day. Previously on ThePixelPunch. This game has a horrible story, it's buggy, it's unfinished, and the gameplay is just atrocious. Good thing there wasn't a sequel. And now leave it in. Hello everybody, I just played a sequel to the worst game I've ever completed, and you know what's weird? I can't decide if this game was better or not. Now, don't get me wrong, it's still a bad game, but I'm thoroughly confused. Now, you would think that a sequel to this pile of shit would either A, be completely better, or B, lie at the bottom of a Best Buy bargain bin for all eternity. But strangely, this game both improves on Dead Men and fails to provide at the same time. How so? Well, let's find out with Kane and Lynch 2, Dog Days. So I'll start off with something I actually like. They really improved on the characterization of Kane and Lynch. In the first installment, these two are the most unlikable assholes in a video game with little differences between each other. But IO surprisingly managed to fix it in Dog Days. Lynch, who you play as this time, is a more sympathetic character, and while he is still involved in crime, you see him from a more personal standpoint, mainly because of his relationship with Sue. Kane is kind of an asshole, but his bitterness is more justified because of the events of the previous game. He's still a fuckface though. One of the things that really helped with this is that the voice acting was tremendously better than the last game.
It's good to see you. Been a while. How you been? Well, here, let me get that.
I'm fine. It's okay.
I was supposed to be picked up by... Yeah, Glazer. Yeah, we're seeing him tomorrow.
I really commend the actors for that. These are the characters I wanted to see in the first installment, to be honest, and it's sad that it took 2 games to get it right. Also, the cover system was fixed a little bit. Instead of doing this, all you have to do is press A and you lock onto the wall next to you. They also made better use of the X, B, and Y buttons. X allows you to kick down doors and pick up dead enemies, weapons, or ammo. Y allows you to switch your weapons, a great improvement in my opinion. And B allows you to make a human shield and kill them.
Fatality.
Speaking of weapons, there's a vast array of them this time compared to the first game. In Dead Men, you had a pistol, an SMG, a shotgun, and a sniper rifle. In Dog Days, you not only have some of those kinds, but different variations of them. You can also throw things like fuel cans and fire extinguishers and shoot them to kill your enemies. And that is so much fun. Unless it hits something and you accidentally explode yourself. However, there are still a lot of flaws. For starters, the fucking loading times. Here, I'll time it. Don't worry, it's no big. What the actual fuck? A game from 2010 should not take 15 minutes to load, and it's like this every time it loads. Also, this game has a massive frame rate issue, and nearly everyone experiences it. What the living hell? I guess Square Enix cared more about Final Fantasy fucking 13 than this. The controls, while massively improved, are not always responsive. It's not as bad as the controls in Dead Men, but still, you guys made Hitmen!
What the hell is this shit?
And finally, the one thing that is horrendous about this game, the fucking filters. If you thought the image glitches was just corruption in the video file, I am less than happy to tell you that you're wrong. It is an actual part of the game. It looks ugly in my opinion, and I don't understand why they thought it was a good idea in the first place. I also feel like it's one of the things that causes the frame rate issues. Thankfully, you can turn the effects off, but don't turn off the sharpen. However, it doesn't entirely fix the frame rate because, oh dear. Seriously, this camera shake effect was a horrible move, like...
Do you want to make your players motion sick?
The soundtrack, while a little more memorable, is still pretty forgettable, even though it's by a different composer. With all that bile out of the way, I think it's time to talk about the best thing about Kane and Lynch. The story. Now, this was one of the controversial things about Kane and Lynch 2. Many felt that the story length was too short, being about 5 hours max. Honestly, if the price had been lowered at launch date, I don't think this would have been a controversy at all. Sure, it's short, going at about 4 to 5 hours long, but it told the story it needed to, and if it had gone on any longer, it would have been shit. So the game begins in medias res with Kane and Lynch getting tortured. Well, that's one way to open a game. In the actual timeline, the game starts out with Lynch and Kane meeting up for the first time since... yeah. And honestly, I really like this intro. But it is flawed. I like the way Kane and Lynch talk like they're old friends. but that's literally the flaw. During the ending to the last game, they came off as hating each other, and now it's bubblegum and unicorns, oh my. Basically, Kane and Lynch are going to help Glazer, Lynch's crime boss, smuggle guns to Africa. Before Lynch is able to drop Kane off at his hotel, he has to threaten an informant named Brady and... Okay, the one thing I'll give Dead Men is it didn't censor shit. The game is rated M. You say fuck, you shoot shit. So why are you censoring? Anyway, we have to chase Brady, and when we corner him... Kane, I swear you are the worst part of this franchise. Brady shoots himself before they can get any information from him, and the two rest before they get info about the deal tomorrow. Things go even more downhill though when Glazer, Kane, and Lynch are attacked while discussing the deal. I honestly don't like this level just because it is a bad and laggy escort quest. But hey, I got to shoot fire extinguishers. Glazer says the attackers are most likely a part of Singh's gang, so later, Kane, Lynch, and some of Glazer's mercenaries go after him. Look guys, it's Dread the video game.
I am the law.
However, when we get to Singh, he informs us the girl Kane shot at the beginning was the daughter of Shang-Chi, a high-ranking Politburo official. So anyone associated with us is open season. Wait, shit. After killing our former associates and escaping from the gang, Lynch tries calling Sue, his girlfriend, but... Kane and Lynch have some peace for once at dinner, and oh fuck! With the Chinese SWAT and policemen coming after us, we race to Sue's apartment where the complex has been taken over by Singh's men. When we finally catch up to Singh and Sue, Kane tries to end it by killing Singh, but Lynch fears that he'll kill her if that happens and fucking knocks him out. Kane and Lynch are then tortured, and Lynch is tossed out, believed to be dead. Oh, those blood effects. Getting back to Kane, it is revealed that Sue has been killed, and our mission now is to go back to Glazer and hope that he hasn't heard about our little... okay, big error.
Things that bother you never bother me. I feel happy and fine. Ha-ha! Living in the sunlight, loving in the moonlight, having a wonderful time.
Glazer then begs for mercy as we confront him. Dude, you're a horrible person. And you tried to kill us. No. He offers to fly us out of Shanghai and...
What the hell?
Oh my god. Someone in Kane and Lynch got killed that deserved it. Yes! After escaping the shipbuilding complex and fighting past Shang-Chi's men and PLA soldiers and policemen, oh my, we try to catch a train hoping it'll take us away from the area.
Stop!
On the way to Shang-Chi, we hijack the helicopter and...
Is it weird that the choppers are causing less damage than the SWAT members?
Finally, after battling past security and destroying more choppers, we meet Shang-Chi, who offers Kane and Lynch a pardon in exchange for working for him. Of course, Lynch shoots him. With that, it is time to flee the country, and this time we play as Kane. I'm not unhappy. I'm ecstatic. I've always wanted to play as Kane. Again. Are you shitting me? Why can't Lynch have a full game? Kane just needs to be the hero, and the one everyone loves. Fuck off. We try to find Glazer's jet, but it's been partially dismantled. Instead, we take a commercial airliner and head off into the night. Not what I expected. I will agree that this game has a very abrupt and kind of odd ending. You're Kane for one level, you get on a plane, and that's it. Even the first one tried to close it out better. Then again, that ending was shit. And that was Kane and Lynch 2 Dog Days, and after talking about it, I have to say, I honestly think this one is better. I mean, it's still bad with its vilifying of Chinese people, its control system being slightly unresponsive, and the whole film effects and the horrid frame rate and loading times. But I felt the story was loads better than the first one, and they fixed a lot of things from the first game, and it was barely buggy, and I actually liked Lynch this time around. I also felt with this game the reason the story worked a lot more was because in my opinion at least, they didn't take the story so seriously. It's not funny by like any means, but compared to the first game, then to this one, yeah. So Kane and Lynch 2 Dog Days, it gets a 5 out of 10. What I don't get though are some of the reviews. The AV Club said it practically runs on rails. Not really. Last time I checked, this wasn't House of the Dead or Time Crisis. Jim Sterling, oh dear, I'm opening up a can of worms here, said the game was broken, messy, and sloppy. Jim, were we playing the same game? I think you grabbed a copy of the first one by accident. Ben Croshaw of Zero Punctuation said that it was a game that killed its franchise so thoroughly that the only acceptable sequel will be a box containing nothing but an apology letter and some chocolates. Sonic Adventure 2 and Kane and Lynch 2 are not even the same kind of game. Look, I have nothing against Jim or Ben or the AV Club, but these reviews seem a bit unfair. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I kind of liked it. Although I did have to take some Dramamine because of the fucking shaky cam. If you guys enjoyed this video, then mash that X button, and up, down, left, right, BA, and have an amazing day. Now, if you'll excuse me, does anyone remember PlayStation Underground? Hey guys, it's Ross from the future here. In case you're wondering why I said PlayStation Underground and not Mighty Number 9, PlayStation Underground was going to be the original video before it. However, due to the games not being up to par and my own lack of interest, I decided to skip that, and I learned a valuable lesson. Maybe figure out if you want to actually review the game first. So yeah, that's why I said PlayStation Underground. Alright, let's get back to the Season 1 video with Mighty Number 9. I don't think it's a secret that I love Mega Man. I mean, my YouTube avatar is literally him. That being said, I also love Mega Man style games. These are games that are difficult, but they give the player determination, insert Undertale joke here, fun, and a feeling of being rewarded. So, what did I think of this week's game? Whether you're a gamer or not, you've most likely heard of crowdfunding. This is when a person asks for others to help fund making a product, which can be a music album, a video game, or even potato salad. I'm not actually joking here, that actually happened. While crowdfunding has done quite a bit of good, there have been a couple of hiccups. And one of those was Shitey Bummer Grime. Oh dear God, how did this even happen? In 2013, Keiji Inafune, the original art designer of Mega Man, and his company Concept turned to Kickstarter to fund a spiritual successor to the original Capcom series. This game was Mighty Number 9. With many fans screaming for a new Mega Man game, the project was funded within 2 fucking days. The development of the game was not actually done by Concept, but by another development team known as Inti Create, a company mostly known for making the Mega Man Zero games. However, Mighty Number 9 soon had many problems. Multiple delays, funding for a new project known as Red Ash, that one advertisement we don't talk about,
And make the bad guys cry like an anime fan on prom night.
And more. Needless to say, the game finally came out last year and had a terrible launch, with horrible management, the game bricking we use, and negative reception. The 3DS and Vita versions haven't even come out yet after 4 years of development, and only now are people finally getting their classic NES boxes and... Oh. Well, it's been a year. I have the game on my PC, and I think it's time to torture myself. So the game begins in the present year? A computer virus ends up corrupting robots around the world, causing them to become hostile and destroy entire cities. So you, as Beck, must traverse the United States and stop the other mighty numbers from causing more damage. Upon playing this first stage, it reminds me a lot of the intro stage of X4, except it sucks. One thing that really made the original and X series good was that the flow of gameplay was never interrupted. There was little dialogue, and when there was, it was minimal. However, in the very first stage of Mighty Number 9, there's 3 minutes and 26 seconds of dialogue. 3 minutes and 26 seconds. And let me tell you, when you're supposed to be going at high speeds in a game like this, dialogue can be distracting. It doesn't even add anything, so what's even the point? While we're talking about high speeds, we might as well talk about the controls and the ever so important dash mechanic. The controls are actually pretty okay. The buttons are responsive, the control stick is really good in my opinion, and the quick select for your weapons is mediocre. You can assign 3 weapons to quick select, and that's cool, but if you need a weapon that isn't assigned, you'll need to continuously tap one of the trigger buttons and then press another button to actually equip it. Kind of cumbersome. And you want to know what I think of this dash gimmick? It's nothing new. Deep Silver in concept made the dash mechanic seem like it was a brand new and revolutionary thing, but the dash move began all the way back in the very first Mega Man X. The only thing new about it was that you assimilated your enemies with it, which in reality slows you down. And to make things even worse, you can skip a whole part of Cryo's level by dashing. I'm not actually joking on this one. After you end the first level, you meet up with Dr. William White, Dr. Soichiro Sanda, and Call. Gee, Beck and Call. Totally not like rock and roll. Other characters include Dr. Graham and Dr. Benedict Blackwell. I have to say, the only character I like is Soichiro. I know he's the butt of everyone's jokes when it comes to Mighty Number 9, but honestly, the other characters are more robotic than Beck.
Based on empirical evidence, I believe they might be suffering from this robot affliction that's going around.
Hello, Americans. In this time of crisis, we at Cherry Dine would just like to express...
Absolutely, Professor White. Anything we can do. Did you have a plan in mind?
Speaking of Beck, you would think that because he's a guy on the front of the box, he's the main character. No. Beck is merely a vessel for the character to play as. He only has a few lines in cutscenes, and they don't really add anything to the plot. It seems that Dr. White is supposed to be the main character, but I don't like him or care about him, so... what's the point? Also, the graphics in this game. What happened? The characters are so static that it would be better to have 2D portraits to represent their emotions when they talk. The game is actually better with blur on, and the color palette is atrocious at times. This game raised over $4 million and it looks like a PS2 game. Actually, no. That's an insult to the PS2. This game looks like a PS1 game is trying to play a PS2 game, but it's just trying too damn hard. Anyway, Dr. White assigns Beck to get the cells. The 90s call it they want their X's back of the mighty numbers so they can determine what is wrong. Is this a shitty ripoff of Mega Man X? I'm not joking, the formula is the same but shittier. The story is the same but shittier. Even the power-ups are ripoffs of old Mega Man weapons. But what about the levels themselves?
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
I seriously think that these guys forgot what level design is. For example, in the first stage, there's this part where you need to dash to avoid falling towers. However, these platforms fall and there's fire raining down from the sky. Gee, it would be inconvenient if one of these fireballs hit me and... Seriously, how is that fair? It's not even the NES style of difficulty, it's just unfair. And then you need to fight Pyrogen, who has a one-hit kill move when he reaches half health. This is the beginning of the game. And I can guarantee that most of your deaths will be because of unfair level design, not the bosses. In fact, the only bosses out of the mighty numbers that were somewhat difficult were Pyrogen, Aviator, and Brandish. But how are the boss fights? Well, actually not that challenging. While I said that Aviator and Brandish were somewhat difficult, they were nowhere close to Pyrogen's level of so-called difficulty. But the thing is, unlike Mega Man where you had to experiment to see which boss was weak to which weapon, Mighty No. 9 flat out tells you. You have an option after defeating a boss where the rescue number will tell you about the stage.
Professor, I have infiltrated the power plant. My blades hunger, waiting only to be unleashed.
Now, you could skip this and just go on your way, but then they appear on the stage. Oh god. It's one of those games, isn't it?
I love you, you love me. We're a happy family.
Even then, there are only a few good powers. Brandish's sword,
Can you hear me, Zero?
Battalion's missiles, and Aviator's helicopter ability thing. I don't know. But you don't even need them until the final boss. Why? Because your regular blaster does more damage. I think I need to reevaluate my life. Also, I want to show you the health meter for the bosses. It's about 4 times as big as Beck's, so it's unclear if the health is the same or if the boss has more. And for every 25% of the health you manage to hit the boss, you have to dash into them as well. This can actually damage Beck, which can cause you to lose a life. But if you don't assimilate the boss, they regain their health back. Wait, what? But if you don't assimilate the boss, they regain their health back. After a few levels, we learned that the infected cells contain traces of White's abandoned project, Trinity. So with our quote-unquote knowledge, Beck and White head to Cherrydyne, owned by Graham, who funded the project. Meanwhile, Soichiro and Call head to prison to converse with Blackwell. It turns out that Graham activated Trinity to sell her for military purposes, and that Dr. White is actually Blackwell's son. Oh, okay. White had deactivated Trinity because she posed a threat to humanity, and then he refined her concept with his next model, Beck. Since we're going to save the world, it's fire against fire, and Beck goes into the now corrupted Coliseum to fight Trinity.
Holy fuck, I hate these things.
They didn't even try to hide it here. Here's where the color palette is really bad. When enemies need to be assimilated, they have a purple glow around them. It's fine in other stages, but the final boss area and Trinity is predominantly purple. I hurt myself multiple times because I thought Trinity needed to be assimilated. After spamming missiles, we saved the world and Trinity. So what's the ending to this game? 3 still images that explain nothing and 4 hours of credits. I'm not even joking. You can look it up on YouTube. I think IGN has it up on there. There is a cutscene after the credits, but it's just sequel bait. And with that said, the suffering is over. So what would I give Mighty No. 9? Well, this game's story is almost non-existent. I mean, I actually needed Wikipedia for help. It was so dumb and forgettable. The gameplay and level design is horrendous. The graphics are bad, especially the color palette. The music's reused and not that impressive. And it's basically a bad ripoff of the Mega Man X series. I feel sad for everyone that kickstarted this game. It's a shame that this came out this way and there is no excuse here. Destroy it. And if you're planning to, don't buy it. It is a waste of your time and money. I did it. I beat one of the worst games ever made. I'm just glad I survived this ordeal. I'm gonna need something to help quench my thirst though. Maybe I'll try some Shovel Knight? If you all enjoyed this video, then mash that X button, and up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, and have an amazing day. Now, if you'll excuse me, the 2000s called. They want their nostalgia back. You know, as a kid, I was very into Lego, especially the Bionicle toy line. And I can't believe I fucking sold them! So I think I'll go onto Amazon and buy some. Fuck this, I'm not paying $80 for this set. Hello everyone! Bionicle! It's very safe to say that LEGO is doing quite well these days, with the company even getting 2 movies that are great and also advertisements. Sorry to ruin the immersion. However, if you go back to the 1990s, the decade of Dunkaroos and Surge, LEGO was going down the toilet. See, this was before LEGO had stories to go with their playsets, so everything was just up to your imagination. LEGO made a bold move and decided to introduce storytelling with their themes, and in 1999, they brought in Star Wars to the LEGO family. However, royalties are a thing. LEGO then thought, let's make our own shit so we can save money. In 1999, they made Throwbots. It lasted 1 year. In 2000, they made Robo-Riders. It lasted 1 year. Finally, LEGO worked hard and made an immensely deep lore to go along with their next playset. Boneheads of Voodoo Island. That was seriously their original name? Someone then was like, that's a shitty name, let's call it Bionicle, and in 2001, the first Bionicle sets were critically acclaimed and everyone loved it. Except the Maori, who sued LEGO for using their language. Bionicle is probably LEGO's deepest toy line to date, with companion books, comics, and even movies to help tell the story.
I'm still pissed they killed Matoran.
It did have...
Yo, Karaka! Yo, Karaka!
that, but it was still really well done, and I'm pissed that they discontinued it twice. I mean, what the fuck? And of course, like every other property made ever, Bionicle had video games. Most of Bionicle's games were flash games to help expand the lore, a notable example being the Motonui online games. However, there were some physical releases like Quest for the Toa, Bionicle Heroes, this fucking piece of shit, and today's game, Matoran Adventures, which met with
fuck off
reviews. Here we go. First off, I have to commend Argonaut Games for managing to put so many languages into one little cartridge. However, why is it off-center? I must question why there are only 2 save slots as well. That's a little weird for a Game Boy Advance game. Oh, this explains it. See, in Matoran Adventures, there's a character select and you can play as 6 Matoran.
We'll be coming back to this shitty system later, though.
Since there's only one character to play as right now, I'll have to settle for Kongu and journey through Liwahi. Oh, what am I playing? I honestly don't know where to start with this shit. I might as well talk about the good parts of the game. First off, these graphics are actually really damn impressive for the Game Boy Advance. They're nice and colorful, and when you're standing still, it's pretty good to look at. The music is also great for the Game Boy Advance. Each theme fits the setting very well, and it seems Argonaut knew what they were doing here. But, good lord, everything else. First off, the camera. What the fuck is this camera? I mean, it's not only too close to Kongu, but it moves around constantly. It's especially bad if you're being chased by something, because sometimes it won't let you see what's in front of you, meaning the way you jump in the game is also very janky. The buttons aren't responsive sometimes, it moves the camera around horribly, and the double jump makes it so much worse. I swear, once I stopped playing, I don't know how it could stand up. Also, the health and life system in this game really sucks. You can only take 5 hits, and extra lives are very scarce. And when you complete a level, your health doesn't reset, so if you're at a boss with only 1 hit left and 1 life, Well, fuck. You also might have noticed that I have another character with me. In each level, minus the boss levels, you need to find a Turaga, in this case Matau, to help you progress through the level. Matoran can attack using bamboo discs and double jump, while the Turaga can break walls and activate switches. The Turaga aren't very useful unless they need to press a switch, so it's kind of unnecessary.
Look, Kongu, there's a switch.
Matau, I could easily push that.
No, let me do it. I think it's my calling. I'm
no
older than
deal.
you
All
anyway. Let me do it.
The Wahi is the most straightforward out of all the levels and... Oh? I got a mask? Oh. I fucking hate this! To unlock other characters, you need to find 4 pieces of their mask, which means... you might have to look all over the stage again so you can get the character you want. Fuck you, Argonaut. I wanted to play as Matoran, not fucking Kongu. Also, the enemy types are... You have normal Rahi, who don't really do anything but walk. Fast Rahi, who don't do anything. Rahi, who fire beams at you. And then Borak, who are a pain in the ass to kill. Then I did it, and I fight a boss. Each of the bosses are this. Just shoot, and dodge. Shoot, and dodge. Not very creative, to be honest. On to Powahi! This level is where the game becomes less linear and you really have to start searching, even for the Turaga. There honestly isn't anything interesting to talk about with Powahi other than the fact that boulders chase you. Now, Tawahi, on the other hand, this level made me want to die! Tawahi is the longest level and the most frustrating. Enemy placement is awful, fires everywhere. It took me a while to find Vakama and... this had to be the fucking level with Matoran's mask. I didn't get it because I just wanted to move on. And this bridge section, fuck this. You have to constantly jump while the bridge is collapsing and oh, are you joking? I could walk over it before but now I get caught?
Fuck you!
I'm done. Next level. Kawahi is probably the most boring level out of all of them. It's very long and while you think that the ice skating gimmick would be cool...
Don't stop us now, the moment of June. We were born to make history.
it's just kinda eh. This level probably has the most Borak though. Gawahi is probably the best level, but it also shows that the developers started to not really care. It's the most explorative of the levels, and the swimming is actually really good. First time I can compliment a water level, but it was honestly really easy. Finally, Onuwahi, which I thought was super hard as a kid, but as an adult, was I seriously dumb as a kid? This level is piss poor easy and probably the second easiest level behind Liwahi. It's not as linear as Gawahi was, but it's not exactly straightforward. Then we reach the final boss, which is just to the first boss what the fuck. Well, this better have paid off. Show me the money. Bucket. This is actually the ending screen of the game. What was I even doing in the game? There was no story. Well, maybe a different character story is better. Let's go with Hyuki because,
Chikua!
It's a palette swap. I'm serious. It's the exact same levels and the only difference is your Matoran's color. Fuck this. However, can I really say this game is worth destroying? Well, not really, to be honest. It still has good in it, and it was confirmed to be non-canon to the Bionicle storyline, so it's not harmful. It's definitely not good, but it's not as terrible as Kane and Lynch or Mighty No. 9. So, my final rating? Just dodge it. Unless you're a hardcore Bionicle fan, then you have a collectible on your hands. Bionicle is a series that's very near and dear to my heart, and while it's upsetting that they won't come back, at least I still have games like Modanui Online and the comics to turn to. And of course...
Chikua!
Who must rise above his harrowing past to save a world that hates him. Now, I know that sounds kind of depressing, but trust me, it's probably the happiest game you'll ever play.
Happiest game I'll ever play, you say? Let's try it. Hello everybody, I thought that I would remind you all that the remake of Stephen King's It is coming out by playing a game about a clown. Except it's weird as fuck and will make you bawl your eyes out. Ah, Jay Tholen, you flapping dick. Dropsy is a 2015 point-and-click adventure game about a clown. And a key one, surprisingly. Believe it or not, despite development starting in 2011, Dropsy existed long before that, though its popularity skyrocketed when the character was used for a choose-your-own-adventure on the Something Awful forums. Oh, and this is a Kickstarter game.
Because I would sell out the last time.
Also, kids, this one is weird. Prepare your butts, eyelids, and milk jugs. So the story starts 5 years prior to the actual game, where Dropsy and his family are beloved circus performers and... oh. Well, now everybody hates him. Once we gain control of Dropsy, the gameplay is actually pretty nice, better than a lot. Okay, nope, I'm done. While this game was advertised as the quote-unquote happiest game you'll ever play, this game's downright depressing. Dropsy has nightmares about... You're shunned by everyone, and children cry in your presence. This game should have been called
Everybody Hates You.
Well, after this hellish vision, we wake up and begin our journey. Oh, doggo! Yes, and Dropsy can switch between him and his animal friends. Oops, I spoiled something early on. To get to areas or to do things certain comrades can't do. However, Dropsy is the only one who can access the inventory, which, unlike most point-and-clicks, is very simple, not Tekken inventory simulator. Also, our dog is called I love it. Now, I just want to say that I am probably not the best person to be judging these kind of games. I don't play a lot of point-and-clicks, and I haven't completed a lot of the ones that I have played. With that said, however, this is probably the most balanced point-and-click I've ever played. One thing I hate about a lot of point-and-click adventures is that they're very overcomplicated and often rely on moon logic. Dropsy thankfully doesn't do that, and is still pretty challenging at some points. Some point-and-click veterans might not like that, though. You can go back to your pie-prone yetis.
I don't fucking care.
Also, this game. It's fucking gorgeous. It's bright and colorful, the animations are fluid, and when you do something right... so fucking adorable. You also might have seen that you couldn't read what was said there, and that's because there's no dialogue in this game. Oh yeah, there's a story to this game. I should probably talk about that. So the game properly begins after Dropsy's nightmare, where we learn from our dad that it's our dead mom's birthday. Well, that's just fucking peachy. To complete this puzzle, we need a family picture and a dirty sock. I know it sounds weird, but it's relatively normal compared to other stuff. It's also here that we learn about a main mechanic in the game. Hugging. Yes, your main goal in this game is to hug
everyone.
It's not required to hug everyone, but like, the option's there, man. You just gotta do it. Of course, before you can hug someone, you have to solve someone's problems. Take, for example, this little girl. She's sad because her flower is dead. To make everything better, go back to the park at night and exchange that flower for another. Then, voila! Hugs. They make the world go round. They make the world go round. After leaving a picture and a dirty sock at our mother's grave, is that disrespectful? We head back to our tent house where, oh shit, it's a Boyd! And this is where I got lost for a very long time because I cannot do logic. Turns out all we need to do is try to hug this guy a couple times, then go back to the Boyd's nest and use the bird mask on ourselves. Yeah, I got the tire. After giving the tire to our daddy-o, we go with him to the junkyard and fuck you! We need to rescue this small mouse from this mutant rat, and I don't know why this took me so long because it's actually fucking simple. Whoa! Someone called PETA. They're totally a great organization. I can use sarcasm, and now Mousy is a party member. Mousy is used to get to smaller places, which are the more frustrating parts. When we return home, Dropsy's father collapses. Are you fucking joking? So now we need to find some medicine for our dad. Oh. That happened. When we get to the hospital, it turns out that we can't afford the fees, so we need to sneak into the S-Corp building to get a miracle cake. This can only be done at night, and despite being a rather easy segment, it felt very tense for some reason. Once we get home, we give the cake to our dad, and nighty-night.
Fuck, not this again!
The next morning, we hear a knock at the door, and oh no. Once we let the visitors in, we're tackled down to the ground by a security guard, and the S-Corp CEO, Greenbeard, comes in.
That's not his actual name, but I'm calling him that so I can save time.
Greenbeard notices that Dropsy's father is sick and strikes a proposition. He's rebuilding the circus and wants you and your animal friends to join. Along the way to the S-Corp building, we also get our final party member, Birdie. Birdie's not much different than Mousy, the only true difference being that Birdie can fly. Now that we've shown our talent, Greenbeard gives us a clown car. It's essentially fast travel, and with such a big map,
it is helpful.
It also showcases a great soundtrack. Re-entering Greenbeard's office at night gets us the level 2 keycard, but I'm wondering why I wasn't assaulted again this time. After picking up the gate key at the airport, we can finally go to the mine, where we find that Birdie's mom is dead. Oh my god! We also find tome pages. You need these. They are endgame items. Collect them. We also find a broken lever, which we can exchange for a good lever, although we need 2 to actually enter the mines. After burying Birdie's mom,
probably the happiest game you'll ever play.
we need to head to Red Clay Village. There's a boat that will take us to the foreman's brother who has his second lever. However, it's broken and the only way to fix it is to get abandon the gig. To get the foreman and his brother back together, you need to turn off his generator, put on a vampire mask, then steal a torn photo and show it to the foreman. Then, finally, you get the second lever. After sleeping, which I think is required, we go back to the construction site and learn that Ugg fell into a cake cart, which leads to the mines. I finally get to use these things. This was honestly my least favorite part of the game because the controls are a bitch in this part, and I also have tome pages to find. We eventually have to rescue Ugg at the junkyard, and to do this, we need to make soup? Don't ask, this game's weird. Finally, we get Ugg and the final tome page. Now, I know I've been saying that this game's weird, but the ending, it enters a whole new fucking level. After giving the priestess in Red Clay Village all 6 tome pages, we go to the construction site where we have to show our talent one last time. We finally get the job, and we have to return the next day to commence the grand opening. Once we arrive home, Dropsy's dad, who is now better, takes us into the shaft where we learn the truth about our happy clown. He's an alien. Turns out that Dropsy's dad and mom couldn't have children, but they saw a spaceship crash land on Earth. Inside was Dropsy, who they adopted and cared for. I'm not crying, you are! At night, it seems something is happening. Oh my capture software. When we wake up, our friends aren't in our party anymore, but Greenbeard tells us they're already at the circus and to go meet them.
Well, this isn't suspicious at all.
We arrive at the mega circus and... Aw, everything's happy. Jay fulfilled his promise. There is happiness. What a good... Wait, what? Jay? Jay?
You fucking bastard!
It turns out that Greenbeard wants to kill Dropsy and wanted to use his animal friends to do so. Well, he failed in that department. After Greenbeard shoots Mousy, I'm not sure to be honest, all goes to chaos and it's up to Dropsy to stop Greenbeard. Thankfully, everyone seems to be on your side and they tell you where to find the villain. You need to take a portal to the plane's obelisk and you finally confront— oh, what the fuck? However, luck happens to be on your side as you are suddenly alive with your dad, your alien mom, and your friends. And how does this game end? With a hug. Now you guys are probably going, what the fuck is this ending? And, well, it's completely understandable. Many theorize that Dropsy and Beardy are actually brothers and that Greenbeard is killing Dropsy so he can get the alien throne. If you search the bunker while chasing Greenbeard, it's implied that he killed their father on Christmas Day. That's a little fucking rude. While I think this is a good theory, I think we need a bit more to fully solidify it. I honestly like the Lovecraftian elements that are also in the game, and would have loved to see that in those theories more. But, what do I rate Dropsy? Well, Dropsy is one of those rare point and clicks that I can actually finish. For the most part, the controls work really damn well, and the music is astonishing. The graphics are nice, colorful, and bouncy, which I love. Another good thing about the game is that there is little to no moon logic, something that I really don't like. Each puzzle is great, and while some combining of the items would have been a little cool, I think it worked well here. The only complaint I have is with the story. It's actually very short and kind of depressing. I also feel like the weirdness will turn some people away, but I've played a lot of weird games, so overall, I really love Dropsy, and if you're looking into getting point and clicks, this is a great place to start. Play it if you're really into point and clicks, or if you're into really weird shit. Oh crap, that came out really wrong. Point and clicks aren't really my thing, but this was a nice surprise, especially since this is a Kickstarter game of all things. Just shows you can find a little gold in the glitter. That was fucking stupid. Who wrote this? Well, that was a decent movie. Oh, hey everyone. I just got back from watching Silent Hill, a movie based off of one of my favorite gaming franchises. It was good, though it had some problems. But that's a video for another time. Anyway, it got me thinking, what would this Silent Hill movie be like as a video game? Well, fuck. I didn't want to do this. I really didn't want to do this. But it was Halloween. I missed the deadline, so scary video games. But this game is something else. Silent Hill is probably the best horror franchise in the history of gaming. Resident Evil isn't that bad, but I never really found it that horrifying. 7 might be an exception though. But I remember getting my PS1 and along with it a game by a little company called Konami, and Silent Hill scared me within 10 minutes of playing it. I mean, sure, it's dated a little.
My daughter. I've gotta find her.
But that only adds to the fear factor in my opinion. Silent Hill 2 is a decent follow-up, being a great character study, and with the use of the Uncanny Valley, it can be, I'm
kind of lost.
Lost?
Yeah. Silent Hill 3, well, I'm ashamed to admit that I was scared so much that I haven't finished it. I will also admit that I haven't played the final Team Silent game, The Room.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
I think it looks quite interesting and I would pick it up
if my game store carried it.
I did play Origins, the first American-developed Silent Hill game, and it's a game. It was developed by Climax Studios, who would later make Silent Hill Shattered Memories, a reimagining of the first game. on the Wii of all consoles. Then we finally got Silent Hill Downpour, a game that is honestly not that bad, but is reviled by the Silent Hill community because of some quote-unquote experts.
Turns out you have to go online just to find out what kind of genre this game falls into. Join convict Murphy Pendleton in Silent Hill, where fear and torment are inescapable.
I have also seen both Silent Hill movies and thoroughly enjoyed both of them, and yes, I know Silent Hill Revelation is a horrible film and can admit its faults. Unlike Revelation, however, the first film is a pretty faithful adaptation to the games for the most part, and we all know what happened with PT, so let's move on before I have a brain aneurysm. Then we have this, Silent Hill Homecoming. Released in between Origins and Shattered Memories, Homecoming was developed by Double Helix and was their first game. Konami, what the fuck? It was released for PS4, Xbox 360, and PC, and is the only Silent Hill game not to be released in Japan. Oh god, that doesn't bode well. Now, I want to say that this is the first episode of... The title should be self-explanatory. I take a game, get all the completions and shit, and beat it 100%. Now, since I played the PC version, which didn't have achievement integration, I took the Xbox 360 achievements and used that as a guide. So everyone, get your steel pipes and turn down the lights. This is Silent Hill Homecoming. So this is another game where shit is fucked right off the bat. The controller is fucked in this. I had to reconfigure it every time I booted up the game. It was a fucking nightmare. Other than that, the main menu is decent. However, there are no separate puzzle difficulties. Shit. Also, why are the difficulties normal and hard? I don't know, I just don't get why games do this. Finally, we get to play the game, and this is Jacob's Ladder. No, really, they fucking ripped off Jacob's Ladder. See, the story of Jacob's Ladder was an inspiration for the first game, but they didn't fucking steal it. So as the doctor finally leaves us be and has a talk with the visitor, our first task is to get off of the operating table, and we do this by... You betrayed me. Also, this is not a one-time thing. Button mashing and QTEs are quite frequent in Silent Hill Homecoming, because hey, Silent Hill wasn't a tense game before because it didn't need you to hammer on your controller. What's funny is, if you leave the controller alone, nothing happens. We aren't stabbed, we aren't operated on, just nothing. After getting out, we learn that we're Alex Shepard, a soldier who is here because... gameplay? We then go through the hospital to find our brother Joshua, who is behind the locked door. This is where we get our first puzzle. I don't really think I can call the game's puzzles though. It's basically get an item, use it. And they don't change in hard difficulty, so there's no need to worry about straining your brain either. After opening the door, we get a combat knife and see the first animated transition into the other world in the Silent Hill game. After then, we find our first enemy, and here's where the game really starts to fall apart. Number 1. They stole the sexy nurses. These nurses were meant for James Sutherland in Silent Hill 2, and were meant to symbolize his repressed sexuality when... Really? That game came out 16 years ago? I'm spoiling this game anyway. Fine. Anyway, if you look at all the other nurses in the series, they each have different designs or are absent because they aren't relevant to the character. I mean, there's a small subplot that Alex was in a hospital after being wounded in battle, but it's barely mentioned. Also, doesn't this nurse look a little different? In fact, it behaves different too, but I swear I've seen it before. Number 2. Silent Hill Homecoming is very action heavy. They practically make you use melee weapons since there's very little ammo in the game, and there's a fucking ammo cap. Also, your best weapon in the entire game? It's a fucking knife. All you need to do is aim, do 3 light attacks and 1 strong attack, and they're in a stun lock. Just don't let the nurses attack you. That could end poorly. and they specifically focused on this as a priority.
And they had like different kinds of attacks. I think that's great. So do I. Silent Hill combat was shitty. It always was.
It was meant to be shitty, you dumbass. That's what made it scary. You could use a gun and waste ammo, or you could use a melee weapon even though your character wasn't trained with that weapon. You weren't a badass. You were an ordinary person. Moving on. Getting further into the hospital, we find Joshua again, have a bullshit conversation, and go on a fetch quest to find his missing toy. However, when we give it to him, he runs away and... Well, alright then. There's nowhere to go but up. However, I shit you not, I did not see this elevator button or know you had to press it. There was no clear indication I had to, so I was thoroughly confused. But we finally get in the elevator and... Okay, I'm not mad that it was a dream. I'm mad because I just realized all of this is based off of the Silent Hill movie. Think about it. I mean, really think about it. The nurses are attracted to light, like in the movie. The Otherworld transformation is flaky, like in the movie. And they even stole the elevator stabbing scene. That was in the movie. This doesn't give me much hope. Oh look, it's Travis Grady. Guys, it's something from the games. Turns out Travis is driving Alex home from his hospital stay. Right. Anyway, he takes us to... Wait, this isn't Silent Hill. No, Travis, we're rewinding. This is the wrong town. You'll be shocked to hear that the first 2/3 of the game takes place in Shepherd's Glen, a town located near Silent Hill. Shepherd's Glen is really fucking small, to be honest. There's not much to see, and well, I hope you like backtracking. See, I don't have too big of a grudge against backtracking if it's done well, like with Devil May Cry 4 and the Resident Evil remake, but that's because they spice it up a bit, like the maze in the forest for Dante and the Crimson Heads in the mansion. Silent Hill Homecoming doesn't do that. It's the same thing, except you occasionally can get a useless weapon. It's dumb and pointless. Heading to our house we meet, oh god, what the fuck, Double Helix? Yeah, for some reason I see so many people defending how this game looks, saying it's great for 2008. No! It's horrible. Like, the Otherworld transitions, Alex, and most of the enemies look good, but everything else, oh my god. I mean, Alex's father looks like he's been airbrushed, Mayor Bartlett is melting, and... Do I even need to speak for this one? No? Okay. This game looks terrible on every platform. Dead Space came out the same year, only a month apart, and it looks 1,000 times better. For some reason, Judge Holloway and her daughter Elle look very... doll-like. It's honestly the only creepy thing in the game because the other scares are ooga booga scares. After a brief talk with Judge Holloway that explains jack shit, we return home and get Joshua's flashlight. Oh yeah, there are also a lot of flashbacks in this game. Only like 2 matter though, so I honestly wonder why they're even here. Downstairs we find our mother in a near catatonic state, and she says she doesn't know where Alex's father or brother are.
And thus, we set off to find Joshua.
But first we need to fix the basement. After going through the graveyard where we find an old man digging up graves, we meet Elle. She's both happy and annoyed about seeing us since Alex left the town without saying goodbye. However, it turns out that more people than Josh and Alex's dad are missing, and Elle has been working with Deputy Wheeler to help. And here's where we get our walkie-talkie, which is supposed to serve as a radio for this game, but I honestly didn't really notice it since it isn't really blaring like previous Silent Hill games. After an enlightening conversation with our repairman Curtis, we get our first firearm for the game. Now, this game was already Americanized as it was, but just a reason for getting a fucking pistol is lame.
Soldiers gotta have a gun.
Now, the targeting system for the melee combat, albeit 10 times fucking worse, is pretty standard for a Silent Hill game. Use the right trigger to target, and the attack buttons to strike your foe. Although they added a useless dodge mechanic. But the gunplay is completely completely different. Instead of locking onto an enemy, you have free reign to target however you want. It's like they tried to copy Resident Evil 4 style of shooting but messed it up entirely. The targeting is way too slow to begin with, and shooting and reloading is just awkward in general. The guns don't even do that much except 2 of them, one of which I will be talking about later. You might as well skip using the guns though, since ammo is hard to come by, once again unlike previous games, and there's a fucking ammo cap. An ammo cap in a Silent Hill game. Why would you even take the time to program that? After getting our pistol, we head back into the graveyard because it turns out that the man digging there was actually Mayor Bartlett, and it's time to get some answers. Speaking of which, I should talk about the dialogue in this game. While the premise is actually pretty decent, the things said in the game are pretty repetitive. I swear that 90% of the time Alex is on screen, it's asking about where his brother is. Silent Hill 1 had this problem too, don't get me wrong, but it was nowhere near as frequent. See this puzzle, kids? That's what all the puzzles are like. Seriously, it's either rewiring things or sliding stuff around. They aren't puzzles, they're just tedious. After unlocking a grave and finding a watch, Alex decides it's a great time to take a nap. However, when he wakes up, he's in Silent Hill, and I say Silent Hill because we barely get to explore Silent Hill. When we go into the hotel we woke up near, Alex sees Josh and runs after him. Just a sec, need the map. After rewiring the power back on and meeting these, we meet a mysterious woman who tells us to collect 3 memories for her. Now, this could have been cool if they threw in puzzles. No, actual puzzles, but they decided just to make it a fetch quest. Look everyone, it's fan service! After giving the memories back to the woman, she gives us a key that leads us to Josh. Of course, he's a little prick and doesn't save his brother begging for help. Okay, I'm sorry, and I know this is a video game, but I'm pretty sure that a fall that great would have at least broken your spine. On to the next room, we meet Mayor Bartlett and are given these conversation branches. They only matter once in the entire game, so not much to say. Just an illusion of choice. Alex gives the watch to Mayor Bartlett since it was a gift to his son Joey, who is missing as well. Then we meet our first boss. Okay, I might as well talk about Alex swearing, because it's so controversial. I don't really get what the big deal is about a video game character in an M-rated game saying Jesus Christ and fuck. Sometimes it doesn't make sense, but that's very rare to be quite honest. And I think people just wanted to complain to complain. Ironically, most of the people I've seen complaining about it swore themselves. That's pretty hypocritical. Anyway, something cool about this game is actually the boss names. There are 4 bosses in the entire game. Technically 5, but he doesn't really count to be honest. And each of their names are representative about them. I'll explain about them more later since it's actually quite reliant on the story. Sepulcher is a relatively easy boss. The first phase is to take down these sacks that are hanging down to damage him enough to get him to drop from the ceiling. The second phase is to strike Sepulcher's arms to get him to fall so we can get a
High straight combo!
Back in Shepherd's Glen, we wake up in jail of all places and meet Deputy Wheeler, who along with Alex when he is in,
Where's Joshua?
is probably the best character in the game, and that's just because of his personality.
He's dead.
Dead? Shit.
We're not going that way. Hey, nice work back there. When this is over, I'm by the first round and then the second.
However, gameplay-wise, Wheeler makes it a lot easier. And while that can be good because of how broken this game is, it doesn't really make you feel scared. After hearing L on a walkie-talkie, we end up getting separated due to
even more fan service.
The police station is where you're introduced to schisms, and trust me, this is the only time you'll want to have bullets, because fighting them melee style is not a good. After saving L from a Siam, aka ripoff of Closer from Silent Hill 3, we descend into... Having sewer levels 1/3 into your game isn't a great decision, devs. This part of the game isn't really anything special, just a way to separate us from L and get us back home. Makes sense. Turns out Wheeler is still alive, and he tells us to go to Doc Fitch to see if he knows anything. And Doc Fitch is... okay then. Fan service, how can we help you? This leads us into the third Otherworld segment, and you encounter like one monster, maybe two. It's just to make things spooky, I guess.
Spooky, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine. Shrieking skulls will shock your soul, seal your doom tonight.
Where's Joshua? At the end of this part, we find Doc Fitch, who is bleeding out the sin. Oh, is this some cult stuff?
Witch!
It turns out Scarlet is missing too, and, well, he's not handling it very well. We gave Doc Fitch a plastic doll we found at the beginning of the level, and then, oh god, that's fucking brutal. So now we fight Scarlet. And his artist name is Scarlet. That's probably only a coincidence. Scarlet is more annoying than easier, medium, or hard, or insert difficulty here. You have to break off her porcelain armor to weaken her, then... Her second phase is a more erratic spider-like phase, but all you need to do this time is stunlock her with a knife. After this, we're pulled into a pool of... I honestly can't call that blood. Half-Life 1 was more realistic. Waking back up in Scarlet's room, we get a key that reveals an underground tunnel system beneath Town Hall. Really? Inside of a large chamber, we find a ceremonial dagger, which is basically the knife, but it can unlock things. And I seriously wonder why Alex would remember how specific a doorknob is. I mean, that's not what I was paying attention to as a kid. I was watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in my pajamas while eating Kix. God, I'm old. Back in the house, we actually have an important flashback of Alex's dad giving Joshua a ring that he is supposed to keep secret. Child neglect is actually a big theme in Homecoming, and while the main focus on this is Alex, who is reportedly treated worse than the family dog, it also extends to Elle to a lesser extent. After solving... we get a map of Silent Hill and a note from his father talking about Joshua and the Order, a cult from Silent Hill. When Alex talks to his mom about this, we get the meme-worthy gem of...
You don't know anything about Silent Hill.
And are ambushed by Snow White's 7 dwarfs.
Hi-ho, it's home from work week.
No, seriously though, these are just the cultists from the Silent Hill movie. This takes us to the Hell House, where we have to solve 4 puzzles to leave and get back to the Fog World. This is like the only area of the game where the puzzles were actually good. Although the mask puzzle is honestly a little too easy and the knife puzzle is just another fetch quest, I found the clock puzzle and the badge puzzle pretty cool. They required me to think a little. Oh, wait, the order of the badges is indented in the case? Never mind, you ruined it. Exiting the Hell House reunites us with shitty looking graphics and with Elle. Oh yay. Wheeler takes Alex and Elle to Silent Hill by boat, where we actually have some decent conversation.
Forget it. I should apologize. It's just... this place brings back bad memories for me.
You know, I never understood why you left. And one day you were just... gone.
Then Elle and Wheeler get kidnapped by the Order. I don't get why these guys don't kill Alex. He's obviously putting a dent in their plans, so why do they just leave him there? Finally, we can explore Silent Hill, or 1/8 of it because you can only go to like 3 places. Wheeler is able to communicate with us over radio and instructs us to shut the power off at the water and electricity plant and... oh, cultists are enemies? This is the first and only time humans in Silent Hill were common enemies. And thank God, because it was dumb and not scary. After finally getting into Overlook Penitentiary, we managed to free Wheeler, who through the use of cameras helps us navigate our way to the prison basement. Here we have our first major decision: to kill our mother out of mercy, or to let her have a horrible, painful death. Then we get to go back to the other world, and it's pretty much that for the rest of the game, which is an awful idea. The other world is meant to give the player fear and be like, nope, I'm saving and quitting. Never mind, I'm gonna play. So having the rest of the game pretty much be in the other world takes away that fear. But anyway, Alex and Wheeler are reunited, and we find Judge Holloway, who is most likely evil, and Wheeler is taken again. Definitely evil. Asphyxia is odd to describe. She only has one phase, and you only need to damage her enough so that you can choke her to death. Okay, that's actually a little messed up. But she's so much faster than Alex, and if you get caught by her, it's bun mashing central. After seeing Josh again, we're led to the Church of the Holy Way. This area is one huge fetch quest. We need to collect 5 plates to place onto an organ, which, when done correctly, opens up a passageway. Now, when I was collecting the plates, I came across a conversation in a confessional booth, and honestly, I didn't think it was too important, but it's actually the second big choice. Do you forgive Alex's father? The thing is, when we meet Sir Airbrush, the conversation is the same whether you forgive him or not, so it's horrifically unclear. Speaking of which, Alex's father reveals that Alex has been in a mental hospital and is in fact not a soldier. I don't really like this plot twist too much, and you'll see why later on, but I will admit that I do like the dog tag touch. Really cool, devs. You get a gold star. But I take it away because you bring more fan service in and had to make it that Alex was dumb enough to let Curtis notice his dog tags as he's about to confront the Order. When Alex wakes up, we meet Judge, Margaret Holloway, who explains what's going on. The town of Shepherd's Glen is an offshoot of the Order of Silent Hill. They wanted to leave the town, but in order to do so, they had sacrificed one of every founder's children every 50 years. Kind of ironic considering that the motto of the town is, where family comes first. Anyway, turns out Alex's father didn't do that, and now everyone is paying for it. And this leads us to another controversial topic from the game, the infamous torture scene. You see, in Australia, 2 parts of the game were deemed a bit too violent for the public's eyes. They were the execution of Alex's father and the torture scene, particularly the deaths. It was considered so violent that it was compared to the hostile torture porn series. And I have to say, really, Alex's death could be a tiny bit understandable, but it was a punishment for dying. And Judge Holloway? Yes. That's so violent. So we have a man being crushed by a giant hand, a man bleeding out profusely, and then his head getting ripped off, and this was the most violent for them? I can't really even joke here, it just baffles me. Also, this is a 5-minute long unskippable cutscene. I counted the minutes. So if I didn't survive the bun mashing, I'd have to watch it all over again. Silent Hill Homecoming is weird with its cutscenes. Most of the FMV is skippable, but at odd times they'll decide to make it so that you can't skip. And of course, they choose the longest one that's right before possibly dying to be one of them. Anyway, after escaping from Judge Holloway, with our leg completely healed, I guess, we save Elle from Curtis and get our final big choice, which is to save Wheeler or not. Pulling out those knives would most certainly kill him. After this, we make our way to some graves, which have the names of the sacrificed children. This spurs up a flashback where Alex took Josh out boating one night, and being jealous over the family ring, the two get in a fight. Their father comes and retrieves Josh, but he's already dead. This sends Alex into a state of mental shock, believing he can save his brother, but he's already gone. And now there are so many plot holes. I mean, first off, the child only had to die by drowning, so did it not count as a sacrifice? Did it have to be forced drowning to count? Why couldn't the family still sacrifice Alex? How did Alex have military combat skills if he wasn't a soldier? Didn't no one look through military records to see if Alex was in the army? And if they did, and he was on there, how many strings did the Order need to pull for that? This is what separates Silent Hill 2 and Silent Hill Homecoming's plot twists apart. Silent Hill 2's twists did have some problems, but it was handled in a much better way than Homecoming's was. This finally leads us to the final boss. Now, remember how I said that I liked the boss names? Well, here's what they mean. Sepulture, Joey Bartlett's boss form, is a synonym for grave. He died by being buried alive. Scarlet, well, I guess it could refer to blood. She died by dismemberment, so it's not too out of the question. Asphyxia, Nora Holloway's boss form, refers to her method of death, asphyxiation. And the final boss is a minion, which is Josh's boss form. Aminios means fetal sac, which could refer to him as being the baby brother, and its form is symbolic of spiders, which Josh liked. The body is supposed to be a pregnant version of their mom, but I honestly don't see it. A minion is surprisingly easy. I rarely died from the battle. All you need to do is stay close to the body and you're pretty much good. After defeating a minion, it's revealed that Josh was inside the body. Alex finally comes to terms with his brother's death, leaves his flashlight with him, and turns to leave. Now it's time for the 100% part of the review. Here we go! Based on your decisions when killing Alex's mom, forgiving his dad, and saving Wheeler, you will get one of 5 different endings. For the sake of this script and my sanity, I'll put the requirements to the side of the screen. The first and only ending that can be considered good is the smile ending. Alex leaves the church and meets with Elle, telling her he saw what he needed to. However, it's still foggy, so I wonder if this is like the Maria ending from Silent Hill 2, and Alex hasn't actually left the fog world. The first bad ending is drowning, where Alex wakes up in a bathtub full of water, where his father tells him that Josh will live on to carry the family legacy. Then he's fucking dunked in. I personally like to think that this is a canonical ending, but it's Silent Hill, so everyone has their own interpretation. The second bad ending is the Boogeyman ending. As punishment for all the bad things he's done, Alex awakens and becomes a Pyramid Head. This ending makes no sense at all and is pure fan service. The final bad ending is the hospital ending. Alex awakens on a medical table and, not believing anything that has happened, is administered an electric shock. Then there's the UFO ending, which plays out similar to the smile ending, but instead of a happy reunitement, Alex and Elle are abducted by aliens. Wheeler then comes out and says,
That's where they've been taking everybody. I knew it!
This is the worst UFO ending in the Silent Hill franchise and can be gotten on the first playthrough. I would assume many players experience that. Reportedly, if you collect all of Josh's photos scattered around the game or beat it on hard mode and get the smile ending, you'll unlock an extra cutscene. I did both of these endings and it didn't happen for me. I'm assuming it's not in the Windows version because I can't find the file anywhere on my computer. Getting a new ending will also get you a new costume for Alex each time. My personal favorites are the trucker and hospital costumes. The Pyramid Head one can make some moments funny. Also, sometimes the costumes carry over into the FMV and sometimes they don't. You can also unlock the young Alex costume by inputting up, up, down, down, left, right, space on the keyboard. Way to butcher my catchphrase. Beating the game once will unlock the circular saw, and getting the UFO ending will unlock the laser pistol. The circular saw is really only good for lurkers and Sepulture, while the laser pistol will decimate everything, even beating bosses in seconds. I like how the pistol resembles the Konami Justifier light gun, referencing what system the series got its start on. And now I think it is time to give my final stance on Silent Hill Homecoming. Behind the HD collection, it's the worst Silent Hill game in the main series. Every time there's potential, they somehow find a way to ruin it. I mean, the puzzles are barely puzzles, the combat system is broken, the bosses are either annoying or easy, and for the most part, the game just looks awful. That being said, the setup was interesting, the voice acting was hit or miss, the music was pretty good, and the other world looked amazing in my opinion. Like, this is the first time we ever saw in a Silent Hill game. And they did it right. I feel like if the devs had stuck more to the game, focused more on the horror, and delayed it by a few months, the game would have been much better. However, the good does not save the bad, so my rating is to destroy it. And now to close our first complete the game episode, here are some of my favorite glitches from Silent Hill Homecoming. You know, you guys leave some really nice comments. I'd like to thank you all for supporting me, especially with what's been going on with you play too many violent video games. What? You heard me. The video games you play are way too violent. What? No. And with that said, today we're playing Pajama Sam 3. Stop it. You're scaring me. If you're as old as me, you're probably the ripe old age of 22. This probably means that as a kid, your parents buy you a lot of games from a company that has great charm and quality. That company would be Humongous Entertainment. Founded in 1992, Humongous Entertainment was an edutainment game developer known primarily for their point-and-click adventures. I would honestly be surprised if you have never heard of the Spy Fox, Freddy Fish, or Putt Putt series. They were known mostly for their great quality and the way they treated kids, making the games challenging for them and not treating them dumb like some media today. I'm sorry, oh boy. As a kid, the humongous games I usually played were the backyard sports games, which were still pretty good. However, my brother liked to play a game about a certain little superhero.
Pajama Sam!
The Pajama Sam series began in 1996, with the first release being There's No Need to Hide When It's Dark Outside. The game has received critical acclaim, and it was even ported to the Wii in 2008. In 1998, 2 years later, the second installment, Thunder and Lightning Aren't So Frightening, was released. While it received positive reviews, it's been considered the most game of the series. The only other Pajama Sam game I played as a kid was the demo of the third game, You Are What You Eat From Your Head to Your Feet. Having a bit of nostalgia for the Humongous Entertainment games and wanting to actually complete the game, I bit my tongue and bought the game on Steam. It's totally not because of YouTube or anything. So with that said, grab your pajamas and a cape. This is Pajama Sam 3. You are what you eat from your head to your feet. That's way too long of a title. The game starts off with what Humongous Entertainment does best. There's cinematics. Sam has decided to eat 20 boxes of cookies so he can win a Pajama Sam action figure, although he only needs the box tops. With his dinner now spoiled, thank you very much Clark Kent, all of the cookies from the last box leap out and it's time to take action.
Of course, I'll need my cape.
Here is where Humongous Entertainment's genius shines through. Just clicking around the environment can bring up interesting things. Our first task is to find Sam's cape, and depending on what playthrough you do, it can be in a different spot. In fact, it's like that for everything in the game. Each playthrough you do in Pajama Sam 3 is different, offering a bit of variety to the table. Food pod. After finding Sam's cape and cornering the cookies in a closet, we're taken to a food rave. After eating a giant cake and some other snacks, Sam tells the junk food he needs to go eat dinner, and they are very offended by this statement.
Twitter!
After this, we're thrown in jail. Good job, Sam.
Tell it to the fudge.
In jail, we meet a broccoli named Florette.
I'm one of the delegates to the big peace conference at the food pyramid.
Peace conference?
Yes. Delegates from all the food groups are supposed to get together to work out our differences. I represent the vegetables.
Oh, I didn't think this game would be political. We also find our first collectible, which comes in the form of a cookie box top. Honestly though, these are shockingly easy to find and the payoff isn't worth it. After a while, it was a bit annoying hearing Sam say this every 5 minutes.
Another box top! All right, a box top! Another box top!
This first puzzle is pretty simple. All you need to do is throw a bonbon at the key and use a broken candy cane to pull it towards you. Wait, why is the padlock inside the cell? Escaping the jail and arriving at the food pyramid, we meet Carrot from Pajama Sam 1. Turns out that 4 delegates haven't arrived at the meeting, and Carrot wants us to find him. Normally I'd be up in arms about this, but this general seems...
War, I tell you!
Since this game isn't exactly linear, I'll be talking about each of my experiences saving the delegates separately. First up is Chuck Cheddar. I found him in the mountains stuck on a ledge, said mountains being an avalanche zone. Further up the mountain, we find Syllabus the Sage, who has 3 questions you need to answer.
I must know which fork at the table is the cheese fork. What sort of cheese is the moon made of? What sort of cheese is the best to put in a cheese sandwich?
With this knowledge, we head on our way to save Chuck. First thing I had to do was untie Sprinkles, a donut I'm pretty sure is secretly evil. And get some hot sauce to put on these fries so Gulp the Egg would eat them. I don't know how I feel about that. Sprinkles and Sam then have to enter the heart. In one of the pathways you can find a coupon for a free etiquette class. Further into the same path, we find some plumbers. We first get a ski ticket from Paper, the right plum, and then ask Frog about his lunch.
What kind of cheese do you use?
Swiss cheese, of course.
1 question down, 2 to go. On another pathway, we meet Selena and Selma Celery. Exchanging the etiquette ticket, Selma grants us the answer to another question.
Which one is the cheese fork?
The cheese fork will be the one which is brought with the cheese.
Alright guys, we are on a roll. The final question takes a bit longer to answer, however. We need to get into this observatory, but only gourds are allowed. I'll be honest, I found these characters a bit,
It's no gourds allowed.
No, that's not right. It's gourds only.
Gourds only, that's right. And, he's not a gourd, so...
So that would mean...
And that would mean no, you can't go in.
However, while these guys were talking, I was able to look at the environments more. The colors are a perfect balance with Sam, with the dark greens, reds, and blues. It looks amazing, and it only reminds me more why Humongous was praised for its art direction. After leaving the observatory and going down another pathway in Heart, we arrive at the beach where we have to help a comedian rearrange his joke cards. This is one of 4 mini-games, and it's the most simple out of all of them. Oh god, that's a bit dark, man. Doing this makes the comedian a success, and we can take his old pumpkin and shoes. Dude, you don't know where those have been. Returning to the observatory and putting the pumpkin on lets us pass, and we can see what the moon is made of.
100% mild cheddar. The moon is made of cheddar cheese.
And with this very important knowledge, we return to Syllabus, who, in awe of our pure awesomeness, lets us blow the gigantic horn he has in front of him.
See you around, Sam.
Bye.
Finally, we rescue Chuck, who heads down to the meeting.
Oh no!
The next delegate we have to save is Pierre Le Pain.
Because pain is brain front.
He's stuck as a prize for the test of strength at the carnival. There are so many moral and ethical questions here. Trying the actual test doesn't really lead to us actually winning, but we get a really cool hammer we can use. Before you leave this area, you should go down to the photo booth and take a picture, because you're gonna need it later. Going to the left leads us to a beach full of... hunky cupcakes? The puzzle here is actually super simple. We need a wrench to fix his faucet, but if we ask the plumbers for theirs, well...
I haven't got a plunger.
Well, then don't touch the wrench.
If we go back to the mountains and continue past Syllabus, there is a gondola that takes us to a self-service ski booth. Looking at the ski ticket we got earlier shows us the path we need to take. The ski minigame is... okay. It's more just moving left and right, and from what I found, hitting these bumps has no real consequence. Aha! Plunger! Now we can prove we are part of the Union. Presenting the plunger to the plums allows us to take the wrench and use it on the faucet. Clicking on the hose lets us grow the cauliflower, which our lady cupcakes don't find too helpful.
Shade!
After this, the guys will go back to working out. The final step is to get on the Ferris wheel and use the hammer on the bell to free Pierre. 2 delegates down and 2 to go. Next up is bean number 47. On the way to where the delegate is actually located, be sure to give Selma the red shoes you got earlier because... Once you arrive at the factory, the foreman states he has a brand new machine called the BCS 4000, but he can't build it because he has no manual. Returning to the food pyramid, if you go to the right, you'll find the library. Giving the photo to the librarian will give us the library card. The third minigame can then ensue, but calling it a minigame is a loose term. You only need to ride these elevators and get the shining book. Just make sure you actually have a library card, because I actually found a game-breaking glitch that left me stuck until I restarted the game. Once we rent the book, be sure to pick up the free dance lesson coupon for later. Returning to the foreman and giving him the book allows him to construct the BCS 4000. This is the final minigame, and it's honestly my least favorite due to how easy and long it is. You just need to sort the beans until you have 47 sorted. After... the new delegate will go to the meeting, and all that's left is to save Granny Smith.
Smythe! That's Smythe! With a Y, mind you!
Granny Smythe can be found on the way to the plumber's, where she is trapped by dancing soda cans. To solve this puzzle, you just need to get the red shoes to Selma and give Zing the free dancing lesson you got earlier.
Hello!
Physics don't exist in any of the games I play. And with that said, all of the delegates are at the meeting, and it's just like real politics. Tired of everyone's bickering and name-calling,
Entree, loaf,
Pablum! Grub!
morsel.
Sam tells them to stop and gives a speech about how certain foods are good with each other and help one another.
If there's one thing I've learned since I've been here, it's that no food is an island. All the best things to eat are made by different kinds of food working together. And that's what you should all be doing. Instead of fighting, you can work together to create new and better things. An apple, broccoli, bean, cheese, and lollipop sandwich.
I'm sorry, Sam, but that would not taste good at all. And with all the foods happy and peace being brought upon the land, Sam can finally go home for dinner.
Dinner? Oh my gosh, I forgot.
How the heck did you forget that? Overall, my time with Pajama Sam 3 was an enjoyable one. The gameplay was great and the story was actually pretty good, especially the humor. And of course, the animation was as great as most Humongous Entertainment games. And while this was unfortunately the last Pajama Sam 3 game to feature the original voice actor, she went out with a bang. I also want to say to not use my review as a proper guide because, like I said earlier, the game creates different scenarios each time you play. I don't know if people who haven't played Humongous Entertainment games will like this nowadays, but I can recommend it to parents who are looking for video games for their children that don't have a lot of violence. So my final rating for Pajama Sam 3, You Are What You Eat From Your Head to Your Feet, is to play it.
Yo, you mentioned the controversial topic, politics.
I'm never gonna do a review like this again.